podcast may contain explicit language. Welcome to the Greatest Movie of All Time podcast, the show that uses a unique grading style to redefine what the greatest movies are. I'm Tom Duncan.
And I'm Dana Duncan.
Coming at you live in this special edition Oscars reaction show. Currently, it is just us. We haven't had any of our cadre of co-hosts or guests for the evening show up quite yet. We're all in, I think, for the most part, different time zones. We've got a few people coming from Mountain, West Coast. I'm not really sure all the time where everybody is. I know we have Nevada, we have Utah. We were supposed to have Chicago. Unfortunately, Adam Freed is at a screening of Mickey 17 from Warner Brothers tonight, so he could not make it. We even were going to have an incorporation from the UK, but unfortunately, Michael Willoughby, also known as Skadoosh, who was on our Magnolia episode back from December, has unfortunately caught ill, and he could not make it tonight. So we miss you, Michael, but you'll be back with us in June for Inside Out, and I hope you're able to see this maybe in the near future. This is satisfying to you. I will bring you that he, more than anybody else, is really happy with Flo winning something. That was his like one sticking point when in an email to me or an exchange early on, he's like, Flo should win everything. I don't know. I didn't quite get to Flo on my list of Oscar movies that I needed to watch, but yep. So, but anyway, Dad, glad to be with you again.
Yes.
Our second annual live stream of doing this. So, initial thoughts on the Oscars?
Not a lot of surprises.
No, not particularly.
No, the only surprise I had was Best Actress, which is what cost me the competition.
I will say, neither of us got any of the shorts correctly. Not that there's really great predictions from the pundits for any of the shorts. To me, the only true surprise was in the animated category. Andrew will tell you up and down that he had Flo winning because, of course, it's nominated 2 categories. That must mean something. I'm sorry. For all the pundits and predictions I saw ahead of time, Wild Robot was running away with it. And to me, that was the only real big shock of the evening. I got 5 wrong in my entire ballot out of 23. One was for song because I went a bit out on a limb by picking Diane Warren to finally get off the hump and get her Oscar. And even this year, in the year where Emilia Perez was basically like a sinking ship, she couldn't win. So I'm sorry, Diane Warren. At this point, I don't think it's happening. And here we go. We have our first guest surprise coming to us from Instagram, and I've seen that one. Klarissa is back after being with us for our Roman holiday episode. How are things, Klarissa?
Super great. I mean, I get to be live with you guys talking about the Oscars, so I'm super pumped. How's everything with you guys?
Pretty good. Pretty good. I am dead tired. I literally got off a plane, was begging the baggage people to give me my bag very quickly so I could run to a party because my friend who hosts his annual Oscars party lives 4 minutes away from the airport. So I went from the airport to his house and was there in time for Best Sound, I think. So I had to catch the rest of it in post. Thankfully, Dad had recorded it because I couldn't get it to record last night. And so I watched the rest of it this morning back. But otherwise, I caught all the big awards.
Good. Yeah, that is good. I was going to say you missed some of those kind of smaller, but like, you're getting Best Actor, Actress, and Picture at least at the end there. So good. I'm glad. But that is chaotic for sure.
I think I caught most of the really big moments, save for Kieran Culkin's acceptance.
Yeah.
That was an interesting moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel really good about that little speech. I've seen like a lot of mixed reviews on it, but at the end of the day, I was like, that guy is just unapologetically himself, and he clearly wants some babies. So man knows what he wants.
It is not the first time somebody has talked about having sex with their significant other on stage during the Oscars, except it might be the first time someone did it during their acceptance speech. I remember Olivia Colman a couple of years ago
Yes.
coming on
Mhm.
and talking about her win the previous year and how she celebrated, but that was not during her
Yeah.
acceptance speech. That was presenting somebody else. But
Yeah.
even so, it was a moment.
Yeah.
So what were your initial reactions last night? We were just talking about how it was kind of a predictable night, although to be quite honest, in the last 5 to 10 years, save for the Parasite thing and the La La Land mix-up, I just think it's been pretty predictable for the most part of an Oscars that has kind of become pundit driven.
Yeah. Totally. I think that's a really great way of phrasing it. I was kind of prepared for something. I mean, we had the Chris Rock Will Smith slap last year, and I was like, what's gonna happen this year? Is there gonna be something or something people talk about? But no, and you know what? I feel like a lot of that is actually thanks to our host Conan O'Brien. Conan O'Brien was brilliant. I absolutely loved him as a host. He handled everything so well. I felt like he tackled um, political commentary as jokes very like in a classy way. Like it was funny, but it wasn't like a ooh, everyone's getting super tense and upset because he's so right, or and sometimes that tends to happen. Like it can be too serious to be a joke, but he hit that sweet spot, and so I really enjoyed that. But he also was perfect with his roasts and roasted himself, which is fun. Um, I really enjoyed the energy he maintained and then the seriousness that he brought when there were serious topics. So first off, I really do feel like Conan O'Brien deserves his own round of applause. I think Andrew put on his story like we should all sign to have Conan O'Brien host every Academy Award, and I agree. He's so great. Um I have a couple of thoughts, but mostly because I haven't seen Anora,
Okay.
and that's hard because it swept last night. So I
Yeah,
was
it
like,
went 5 for 5, which is a rarity.
yeah, it
Yeah.
is. Absolutely. So I have committed that tonight, well, probably not tonight. I'm crunched for time, but probably tomorrow I'm going to sit down and really watch it. Uh give it a good go, but I did struggle with Demi Moore not winning. I was a little bit bummed
Okay.
about that just because I've loved her for so long. Ghost is one of my favorite movies, and so I was like, yes, Demi, this is her moment. Um, but to me, it also mostly said I'm missing out on a really amazing movie. And that's what I'm hoping I feel when I have a chance to see Anora. Fingers crossed. I heard good things from you. You repped for it in your ballot, right?
I did.
Sarah!
Well,
Yep.
hello.
I
Not
Hi!
in costume. What's going on?
She's dressed as Sarah Shea.
I had to go to school today. I had to run my kid to orchestra. I'm like a regular human being right now.
I was half expecting an Anora costume.
I mean, stripper
I don't know
costume.
what that
Got
is.
it. Got it. Thanks.
Oh,
She
okay.
can still do some dances for us here, and yeah.
Woo, Sarah.
Oh, and the views just shot up.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
we've definitely gotten going here. So, joining us now, the host and creator of Shea Cinema, that is Sara Shea. And I don't know how long you'll be with us tonight. You did not indicate whether you had any hard outs, but what is going on with you?
It's school is going on with me. We're like the end of the quarter, so that's literally all I'm doing right now is grading things, reading Macbeth, doing all of that type of stuff. Obviously, big-ish news is Klarissa and I are going to appear with Andrew on the latest episode of Revisionist Almanac on Friday. That's pretty exciting. And then I should hopefully have a new episode of our show out next week, which has literally been waiting to be edited since October. And everyone's super excited because it's our episode on Cavalcade.
You want something? I'll give you a teaser. I always post my re-rankings of the best pictures winners every year during this episode. So last year, Cavalcade was in the bottom 5 in a category because it was the first time I had categorized them due to an idea I got from Adam St. John.
Okay, yeah.
In what I called the movies that anger me, Cavalcade moved up into the category ahead of it. It's now just dull and bloated. It is no longer a film that angers me.
Oh, well, that's good. You'll have to listen to the episode and see what I think about it in terms of whether or not it angers me, because it's not Cimarron anger. It's not Cimarron anger. Or like...
Yeah, Cimarron is in that bottom 4 now
Yeah.
of movies that anger me, along with Tom Jones, Chariots of Fire, and my all-time nemesis, All the King's Men. But we will get to that after a while. I do have to mention the person who is not yet here, but has already made his presence known, at least in the live chat, is fact-checking me, Andrew Corns, who says it's 5 for 6 for Honora because Yura Borisov did lose. And Andrew, who could not yet be with us because, I don't know, he's putting apparently his parasites that he likes to refer to as children to bed.
Yeah, he's never available before like
7:30 Central Standard Time.
Yes.
Yeah.
But he also has a hard out this evening, but we'll make it work. We have a...
What else does he possibly have to do?
It's apparently a special night in the Corns household.
Oh.
So that was not a pun intended.
Anyway.
The finger guns.
I mean, the kids had to come from somewhere. Anyway, moving on.
Andrew, where are you?
He is about 17 minutes away, roughly.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
So, going through the list, I would say other moments that struck me. What the hell was Adrian Brody doing? He set the record by 1 second for longest Oscars speech ahead of Greer Garson in 1942. I have nothing personally against him. I think he's a fantastic actor. I was comfortable with him winning the award, although I personally would have picked Chalamet. However, he did himself, in my eyes, absolutely no favors with that speech, which was incredibly self-indulgent.
Klarissa and I already complained to each other about it today.
Ugh.
We were just like super
It was so
upset.
frustrating. It was so frustrating. I mean, I have loved him for forever, and I actually really enjoy following him on Instagram because I think it's very tender when he like posts these little, "Hi guys, I'm just walking through the streets of New York," and I'm like, Adrian Brody, just being a little cutie doing his own thing. And so I, at first, when he said this whole like, "Stop the music, I've done this before," I was like, I had a little giggle, and then it was almost like a, oh, it was like when Tom Cruise got squirted with the like fake mic and he like laughed at first, then he was like, "Why'd you do that?" And like got really serious. That was kind of the moment I had of like, oh, haha, what? Like, what? Why? And he wasn't on anything specific. Like, it was just tangential. But sorry, Sarah, I cut you off.
Oh, no, the whole problem is that there were already people who had a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a second who were cut off, who did not get to say anything at all. And then this pompous windbag comes up and just starts bloviating about how great he is and how wonderful cinema is, while not actually acknowledging anyone else in cinema. And for me, I've never quite. He's fine as an actor, but this, I'm done. I'm done. I am washing my hands of him. He proved to me that he's not worth a damn, and I feel like anyone else in that category would have done a better job doing a speech. And to me it felt very masturbatory to me. It almost kind of felt like Warren Beatty writing a movie for himself.
Okay, so first off, I was definitely confused by whatever like axe he was trying to grind or comeback story he was trying to tell. Can anybody explain that to me? But then
No, 'cause I have
secondary,
nothing. I mean,
Yeah.
other than the fact that he won the Academy at a fairly young age and has kind of like been sliding around Hollywood trying to find any kind of work that has any value or meaning. I mean, he's had a lot of bit parts and second parts and stuff.
I mean, I turned to somebody at the party I was at and said, I can't believe Pat Riley has won an Oscar. But
yeah,
moving on, as far as that goes, when he said,
play to your
"Stop,"
audience, Tom. Two non-basketball fans here, I assume.
well,
No,
or
it's
that
like-
didn't watch the specific HBO show, but that's neither here nor there. Regardless, because I have to assume there are a lot of sports fans that do listen to the show. It just doesn't happen to be our guest, and that's okay.
That's fine.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on. I will say that when he did say stop or just pause the music or whatever else, I will be brief. And then he went on for another like 3 minutes. It was one thing if you were like wrapping up and he just said, I need to get some thank yous in or something. No, he just decided I'm going to hog the clock. I can't believe they actually listened to him and shut the music
Yeah.
down.
I was ready for him to say something that was like, wow, people are going to tattoo this on their body because it's so important for him to say it that it's going to like go
love is love is
down.
love or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
like
I won't show you my forearm this morning. So I got back from the parlor to about noon. So
wow. Does
Yeah,
it say chuck your gum at your girlfriend or something like that?
Okay, yeah. That was the
Oh.
other part that was weird. Was it gum? Because I couldn't tell.
Yeah, it was gum.
Okay.
Gum.
It
Gum
doesn't
is
matter.
My biggest ick. It's my biggest ick. Like when gum leaves someone's mouth, if they like pull it, if it's on the street, if it's under a chair, I want to like hurl. And so when I saw that, I was like, oh, that was a big oof. Don't love that at all. And it was embarrassing. I'm like, number one, why are you chewing gum? Take a pack of Icebreakers mints and chew one before you hop up.
2 points about that. One,
Yeah.
in the room, we were all asking, what the hell did he just toss at her? It was so awkward and it was never explained.
Yeah.
But 2, you are one of the 2 favorites to win this award. Like, don't tell me oh, well, I wasn't sure. No, you'd basically won just about 50% of everything coming in. Why the hell are you chewing gum in that moment?
Yeah. I agree.
But you could do what every third grader does when they get stuck with gum in their mouth and swallow it immediately.
That's
That
true.
would be
Your
that would
body
be
will recover.
better decorum than throwing it. Just
Yeah.
And she just held on to that. She's not near trash.
what
Like,
if she
did he put it back in his mouth?
what if she put it in her own mouth?
Maybe it's in Halle Berry's mouth now.
You know what?
I
I
was
guess
waiting
let's
for
back
reference to come up.
let's back up for a second because actually his hairy belly
His hairy belly.
his Halle Berry like super non-consensual smooch from years past is actually probably the first thing that made me feel icky about him. And this just
That's
kind
fair.
of wrapped
Totally
it all
fair.
up. And I know they saw each other for a reunion on the red carpet. But
She went up to him and laid one on him. Like heavy.
I did not know that.
Oh, yeah. That video was
Wow.
making its way around everywhere today.
Jeez.
Congratulations for not really
Yeah.
being on the internet today. I truly.
because I was at work,
Oh.
but also I was
Yeah.
How was
I was
he
actually
supposed to be? I
I
was
was-
peeing him.
Stinker. um, with this speech too, another thought I had, because I actually rewatched it before. Like I was like, if I'm gonna throw a fit about this, which I've been prepared to do, I need to rewatch it. I need to listen to it again. It I was thinking maybe it would be all of a sudden, like, because he does mention some, like, we can't tolerate hate, some of these things that are like subtle social commentary towards like the end after he stops the music. And I re-listened to it and I was like, this is so unspecific and it's still tangential. It's not cohesive in what he's saying. Like, I don't know exactly the point of what he's trying to make. He just seems like he's wanted a platform since he kissed Halle Berry the last time. And he's like, I just need to talk to the world. It's almost like start a podcast, Adrian Brody.
Talk to the
Like,
world. It's almost like
yeah.
start a podcast, Adrian Brody. Like,
I personally think that he's somebody who needs to have a screenwriter in order to make any sense.
Fair.
And we are now joined by Mr. Technical Issues himself, who is already creating an echo in the party here. It is Peterson W. Hill. Apparently, he's not hearing me. I don't know.
Hello.
Hi.
Can you hear
He's
us?
muted, but I don't know. Oh, yeah. This is the weird part about being live the whole time. Okay, he's in, he's
See,
out, he's in, he's out.
If
It's
only
like
that's how
the
short
hokey
his
pokey.
speech was. If only Adrian Brody had kept it that brief. Take notes from Peterson.
Well, and I think too, there was Andrew had posted a video of somebody like digesting
Yes,
the speech,
yeah.
not digesting, analyzing
Breaking it
the
down,
speech,
yeah.
breaking it down. Thank you. And that Mikey Madison's speech immediately after was so clear and so concise and so eloquent and gracious.
Yeah.
Like, bleh.
Well, the
Adrian
thing
Brody,
is
you're dead to me.
He's
As
done this
compared against the
before.
other person that could have won the award and given a different speech, given how he presented himself at the SAG Awards, what are some thoughts on what Timmy could have said?
I didn't see what he said at the SAG Awards.
Well, Dad, go find it on the internet.
I see. We were broadcasting or recording or doing our live stream last Sunday, so I never saw the SAGs.
I didn't watch it, but is it the speech where he said, I want to be great, essentially?
Yeah, I want to be one of the greats. I want to achieve greatness. And he basically laid down the marker that I want to win the award. I'm not going to be shy about winning the award because it means something to me, which in some ways, to some people, is rarely refreshing because a lot of them act like, oh, it's not that big a deal. The nominations really of what's no, people remember who won.
Yeah.
True, but there's so much ego, like unrestrained ego when he says stuff like that. And I don't know if he's had a career to me that feels that weighty, that meaty to have that kind of attitude.
Think of all the people that have won Best Actor at this point, and then tell me how many of them don't have enormous egos. DiCaprio, Daniel Day-Lewis. Like the last one that I think could be somewhat human is Tom Hanks.
Maybe. And Leonardo DiCaprio is like number one on my poop list. So
I'm aware. That's why I brought him up first for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I get it. But I think there's a way to say, I want to be great and I want to be recognized as the cream of the crop without sounding like you're touching yourself while you're doing it.
I guess we can't have Cillian Murphy win every year.
No.
Well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other? I'll go ahead.
I have a couple thoughts on this. It didn't give me the ick as much. I feel like it was like teeter-tottering on that line of ick for me that was like, oh, this is a little too cocky, but at the same time, I appreciate what he's saying in a way of like, I am working hard because I want my name to be here with these people that I really admire. And it might be a little cocky of like at the end of a job interview when you say, I look forward to working with you. To me, that was kind of the vibe it was giving of like, I look forward to being here again because that's the work I'm going to put into it. But I do feel like the ego vibe was still there a little too much. And that's why it's so close to that teeter totter. Because Sarah, like, I think you make an absolutely valid point. It, it is ego. It's not as much like a motivation to work harder. It's a motivation to just be great. And that was where I was like,
To be
is there
told that
clarification
he's
here?
great, though. To be told that he's great,
Yes.
not actually
Good point.
going through the motions. He wants to be given the award, and I guarantee you that he thinks that he deserves the award no matter what. I don't think
Yeah.
that he would be gracious enough to acknowledge that anybody else could be better or chose a better role than him, or that's
Yeah.
just for me the way that it comes off. But also, I just might be a bitter middle-aged lady. So
No,
On
I
that
think
note,
you still have good points.
before Klarissa has to get to her heart out here in a couple of minutes, I just wanted to give you a chance. What upcoming projects do you have going?
Well, right now I'm working on a really fun Phone a Friend, which all of you have talked to me about being on. I'm so excited about it. It's just going to be like a real series that's a little bit podcasty vibes, but a little bit more manageable for me as a student and employee. So I'm really excited about that. It's just, I don't know how you guys do it. It is, I can't imagine like
I
time
get it
wise.
completely. I'm also a student.
Yeah.
Doing this every week is a challenge, but
And you work. Tom, how do you do it?
1 hour at a time.
Lovely. Chef's kiss. I love it. Yeah. So I'm hoping that this is going to be like dipping my toe into this world. And I'm really excited. So if anybody listening or watching is interested in collaborating with me on my Instagram, please feel free to message me. I'd absolutely love it. And then we've done 80s action movies, 90s action movies, and soon we'll be recording 2000s action movies on the movie podium. I'm super stoked about it. So look out for episodes there. But mostly I'm just talking movies. That's my stuff going on. Before I do go, I do have a couple more thoughts to leave with before.
Okay.
Okay. Um, First off, I wanted to mention some of my favorite moments. I did say every moment with Conan O'Brien. I just loved him. Probably one of the biggest leap off your couch reactions. I'm throwing this in there because I do have to dip. Um, was the intro with Conan crawling out of Demi Moore's back was shocking, but also like I'm laughing with my eyes wide open at the same time of like, oh my gosh, this is so funny, and I get the reference, but wow, this is live. Like really fun. Bold but fun and like a hoot at the same time. And then my probably the most tender moment of the evening for me was the kind of ode to the first responders and having them come out on the stage. I absolutely loved that. It really made me tear up. I loved that they had the QR code the whole time for donations. And having them make jokes was adorable. It was adorable and they delivered them so fantastically. I just felt like that was the perfect way because there were so many people in that room who had lost their homes, and to see those people and appreciate the people that were helping you save everything that you've collected in your life, and those things in your home, your nest, as it was probably, I can imagine, was a very beautiful moment. Compliment two outfits for best dressed because I have to throw it out there. Ariana Grande's dress had a shoe on
Yeah.
the back. it had a shoe on the back. That was cool, but also kind of a shock. I feel like I've had so many things with the Oscars where I was like, whoa. Like, I'm happy, but I'm surprised about this. And I'm like, oh, that's a shoe heel. Like, if she leans back on someone, like, they're losing an eyeball.
That was not the dress that she wore while like sitting
No.
down. She did change,
Yeah.
but I did notice that too.
Yeah.
Because I mean, frankly, it kind of made sense with the whole Wizard of Oz thing to have a
so
ruby
cool.
slipper on the back.
Yeah. Absolutely. I thought it was a really clever way of incorporating that, because when she started singing Somewhere Over the Rainbow, she was like cheating out to the audience.
Mhm.
And so, of course, you couldn't really see the shoe. And it was when she turned around, and then when they showed her coming to sing Defying Gravity with Cynthia Erivo, when you really saw it. And to me, I was like, that is subtlety. You know that the audience isn't seeing that super well, but it's the attention to detail that they give in these designs that is just so stunning. And it is such a beautiful nod to Wizard of Oz and Wicked Part 2, because we haven't seen the slippers yet, really. So it's really exciting.
She wore a different dress on the red carpet, because I caught the very
Yes.
end
So
of that.
3 dresses?
Had a different dress. It was this weird
What?
dress that had this like weird hoop thing that stuck out. And I'm going, how the hell do you sit in those seats? Because
did
it's
see
like
that.
twice the
fringe.
size of her head.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Who
Now,
knows?
I
I
thought
saw her
she
sitting
changed
in
back
that one.
into it later, but I'm not sure.
She did. When they were doing the awards and they were like showing the nominees, she was back in that dress, but you could tell it looked uncomfortable. Like, she was sitting away from the back of her seat, and to me, I'm like, that has got to be a bummer, because I'm comfy on my couch and I need to stand up and move around. I cannot imagine sitting in a hula hoop with fringe the whole evening. So yeah, great point.
I think most women's fashion is uncomfortability. It's like measured in uncomfortability, but
What? Yeah,
Cannot
absolutely.
relate.
we
Hey,
You
definitely
all
did not.
expected me to show up in a costume tonight. I should have shown up in like a ridiculous ball gown and like some sort of weird contraption on my
Yes.
head.
If
That's
I
the
had
bar
a
next
teal
time.
hoodie, I would have showed up like Adam Sandler.
I loved that
Yes.
bit.
A
I loved
Chalamet.
that
So good. And then I have one more thing, and then I do have to hop off. Which, again, thank you so much for having me and understanding and letting me hop on with you guys for a bit. Oh, of course, I'm Andrew. Hello.
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 Amelia.
Oh my
Oh, wow.
gosh.
Wow, what an entrance there. We have Andrew Corns of the Revisionist Almanac
is
with
that-
us now.
Is that Frank?
He has finally put the parasites to bed.
I heard that earlier. So did the wife.
Oh.
I am not her favorite person right now. Oh, well.
That's so funny.
That's why I live like 6 hours away.
So she can't come over and like
For
actually.
safety.
Yeah, pretty much. That's
Well,
my
she
arm's
is
length.
like the strongest person I've ever seen. I can't say I've met her, but she is jacked. So watch her back. She is
Exactly.
so cool. Andrew, I'm so bummed. I have to hop off right as you're hopping on.
I know. I
I'm
watch.
in the
I
middle
watch
of
you though,
midterms.
Klarissa.
Oh, thank you. Yay. And we'll talk. We'll just message about the Oscars. But my last thought really is my second dress that I wanted to mention was Zoe's. I love Zoe Saldana's dress. I felt like it really, I did. I loved it. Sarah's giving me the thumbs down. I felt like it really worked well with her complexion.
Color, yes.
So that's my last.
Shape.
I liked the shape.
I said so funny. She is literally the only dress that I was like, no, thank you.
No
The
way.
only
That's
one.
so funny.
Yeah.
That is so funny. I'm gonna just come knock on your door and I'm gonna wear a dress that's even bigger than that with the same design. And I'm just
And
gonna
in
be like,
case
"But
anybody's
I-"
uncomfortable right now, these
I will
two
love
are
you
like
anyway.
best friends. So
Yes.
yeah, there's no real
Yes.
animosity. It's just kind
No.
of a play fighting, but
No, we love each other
Yes.
a lot.
Yeah. And then my last thing is I am really disappointed with the song choice for Amelia Perez. That song, personally, of all the songs in that movie, was the biggest disappointment to me. And so to have that one be the one, like the only song that I was like, okay, I see why this is a thing, but it's still bad, is that I Am Here. When it was the whole ensemble, I felt like the story was really cohesive and emotional in that moment, with like all the headshots of all these people singing. That was the one moment. And so then when they did this, I literally posted on my Instagram story, I was like, I'm gonna freak out if this wins. And then I was like, well, the joke is on me because look at what won. So anyway,
Except
that was
we're
kind of
all
my
winners
one.
for not having to hear them sing it.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. If they
Because
did
we
that
would
on
have had to
stage-
sit through 2 Amelia Perez songs because they had 2 songs nominated for Best
Yeah.
Original Song.
Yeah.
Which was too many for me.
Yep. Yep.
Uh-oh, using that cough button. Glad we are in the live and somebody knew how to use it.
I'm just passing away really quick. I'm so sorry.
So I just wanted to comment about, as long as we're talking about fashion, Charlemagne, if you're going to be in the upper echelon, don't look like a frickin' banana.
Did you say Charlemagne or
He
Chalamet?
said
Charlemagne.
Charlemagne, but he meant
Yes, excuse me.
That's why I was
Don't
confused.
look
I'm
like
like,
a
Charlemagne!
frickin' banana.
when did Charlemagne the God show up on the Oscars? But okay.
Whatever. Anyway, misspoke. But I mean, what the hell? A banana? I
He
mean,
could
it
have
was
just
just
trying
to
to
try
find
and do
Curious
something a little
George.
different.
His date
Um,
is Kylie Jenner.
Well,
Oh,
yeah, but I'm not.
Her
even
dress
sure
was
Ned
stunning
knows
too,
who that
but
is.
We're talking about we're stressed.
we're
Oh,
just
Yeah.
talking about dressing in general.
yeah, we're
again, he was
Yeah.
trying to find Curious George. That's it.
I guess.
Where was that? All right, I've got to run. But again, thank you so much for having
Sure.
me. Everybody have a great night. I will be listening while I cram for midterms. Bye,
Oh,
guys.
I've got that too.
Bye, my
I
friend. I love
understand.
you.
Take care.
Love you. Bye.
We'll see you for Jaws in a couple of months. All right.
Yes.
Yes.
50th anniversary this year.
That's so exciting.
My favorite moment, by the way, as long as we're going to talk about different things, my favorite moment was the F-bomb joke that Conan told. And I think Garcon had to actually ask if she understood what the joke was, because she's leaning forward and you can see. And I'm like, I think if she would have understood exactly what the joke was, she would not have necessarily been smiling.
No.
She
Almost
had no
guaranteed.
clue.
Conan had a few really good zingers, like the Kendrick joke was right up my alley.
The Russia
for the
joke
younger,
was good too.
The Russia joke, yeah.
Yeah.
I might be the only person in America who thought it was kind of mid. But then again, I am a comedy snob, so what do I know?
We often wonder.
But to bring him in now for the second time, we have joining us the co-host of the War Starts at Midnight podcast. It is Peterson W. Hill, and a
Thank you.
5-time club member of Gmote.
Thank you. Sorry that kids were being a little unruly is probably the best way to say it. One
More
sick and the others-
parasites.
One
Still
sick and
waiting
the
on
others
that
going crazy.
5-timers hat picture you promised, Peterson. And if you know, you know.
Yeah. I will. You know what? I will be off work early tomorrow. I'll snap a pic.
Well,
Woody
and-
Harrelson style.
Use that pressure on somebody else here, because their presence on tonight's episode does mean that when they join for Patton in a couple of weeks, they will be at 5.
What? How did this happen?
It's a
You lost
quality hat.
count already.
I did. Oh my god, that's really exciting. That was such a quick turnaround.
Talk about another Best Picture winner too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A movie I've never seen.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
I just am like one of those that's long. I don't know.
Some
it's like
people
right
will
up
say
your
you
alley, I
only
think.
need to
Story,
watch
it's
the
one of my
first scene.
favorites.
Some people will say you only need to watch the first scene. My dad will say you need to sit through the entire movie and endure it like Patton
Yes, I agree.
crossing the
Yes,
Rhine.
I agree. You at least need to hear him say, "Rommel, you magnificent bastard, I read your book." But there's like so much build up to that.
By the way, I only realized yesterday at an Oscars party that the person that I scheduled for the OG Star Wars from 77, unfortunately, is a hater.
Ah.
Oh.
Do you need someone to take their place?
I did not know this.
Were they alive when it came out?
No.
There's your problem.
In fact, there's somebody who liked to troll everybody by saying the prequels were better. So, yeah. But that is a 2-guester episode, so hopefully it'll balance out a little.
I like Star Wars, and I'm not a super fan by any means, but there's no possible argument to be made that the prequels are better.
No, like the special editions that came out in 97 are objectively worse. And
All right. We're going to move off this topic so that we don't have like pit stains going on here. But all right. First, I would like to acknowledge the chat. Thank you to Triple Crown. We appreciate you appreciating us for doing this. I also would like to acknowledge Pierre Dupont. Thriller or horror for Jaws as a question. We answered that back in our original revisit of Jaws in season 2. That was actually a really great discussion we had with our guest at the time. And if you want that, you could check that out. And if you go back to the original Jaws episode, I recreated the full monologue from Robert Shaw of the USS Indianapolis, which I have been given rave reviews for. So there's good stuff on the feed to always find at any point. But since Andrew is now here,
start practicing my patent speech. Okay.
Oh, that's mine. I'm sorry. I'm taking that full one. I'm practicing my George C. Scott. But anyway, first trivia question of the evening, and this is the easiest one. They will progressively get harder as we go. How many Best Animated Feature wins does Pixar have? Again, this is the easiest of the questions.
Typical Tom question.
I'm gonna say. Let me count them. Hold on, you guys are.
I'm gonna guess 10. Because we've only been talking about since what 2000 and
since Shrek
2001.
Shrek was the first movie to win Best Animated because they had to create the category for Shrek, right?
10 might even
no,
be
they
high.
created it after.
I don't think Shrek
Beauty
won
and
it.
the
I
Beast.
think Spirited Away won
Nope.
the first one.
And I didn't think
Nope.
Shrek was
Shrek
Pixar.
won it. The undisputed greatest film of all time, Shrek, right?
Shrek was
I
not Pixar.
strongly
done an
dislike
episode.
Shrek.
It wasn't Pixar.
I know, but that's
It was DreamWorks.
even so. But
I'm-
we're still talking like
24 years roughly of movies.
I'm gonna stick
Yeah.
with 10.
I'm gonna say 12.
I'm going to say 1, just to be different.
Price
well,
is Right
everyone
rules.
knows verifiably that is not true. Sarah, I guess.
Oh, I'm trying to remember because
But like,
John Lasseter lived in the town that I grew up in, and like one of my high school friends went to the Oscars when Toy Story was nominated. So I'm like,
And we have Dana's first like snort cough thing live on the show tonight.
I've been muting several times, but sorry.
okay, so Dana says 1. Who said 12?
I said 12.
You said 12. Andrew, how many did you say? You said 10.
Come on, split the difference.
Between 11 and 12?
Between 10 and 12.
10 and 12, 11? I'm going to say 9.
Oh, you should have split the difference. It's 11.
I'm not touching my nose for you.
I give you slaps giving, and you give me nothing but slaps in my face. Oh well.
That's
Anyway.
how it works.
I actually know. So one of the reasons I thought 12, then I'm like, yeah, I should maybe subtract 1 because I knew that Cars lost to Happy Feet because I lost an Oscars pool because Happy Feet one.
Isn't that a George Miller?
That's a George Miller, yeah.
Miller?
One
Yeah,
and
okay.
two.
Yeah. Okay. Just checking.
Hugh Jackman's the dancing, singing penguin. Still have not seen it. I have kids and I haven't seen it.
It's pretty cute.
Is it?
It's pretty
Well,
cute.
are any of your kids 20 years old? Because that's about what you're talking about for cars.
I know.
Yep. And if you listen to Jackman's soon-to-be ex-wife, he is a dancing penguin.
He's mates for life? No, he doesn't.
No, he just looks like a dork. It's a
What?
You're the only person on the planet who thinks Hugh Jackman looks like a dork.
well, according to her, it's a midlife crisis.
Okay, we're moving on because
Yeah.
I don't know how to. What the fuck was that? Okay. Biggest leap off your couch reaction. We got one from Klarissa before she left, but anybody else?
I think for me, it was probably Sean Baker taking editing because that was like the clear sign that he was going to probably run the table.
He was going the table with that, yeah.
Yeah, that was probably the outlier to me. It was the one where I thought it was a little bit open yet, but if he took that one, you basically knew.
Yeah.
Obviously, the one for me was Mikey Madison winning. For other reasons that will come up later.
Fuck you.
You know, I don't know if I had a big jump off the couch moment this year. I think the closest might have been Adrian Brody, just because the whole season his narrative has been, hey, I got this, and then I basically screwed it up. You know, so I think seeing him back up there was nice.
I think the other one too for me, and this might touch on pull on your heartstrings, Tom and Dana, since you're Bond aficionados. The Bond tribute, I didn't necessarily love the music. Like, I didn't love the people they had singing the songs necessarily.
Yeah.
But when Margaret Qualley popped in the little thing, I thought if she's a Bond girl in the future, sign me up for that. Like, she'd be a fantastic character in the Bond universe.
I will say I didn't laugh at it, but I thought it was at least a decent enough joke. Was Conan's incorporation of Amazon International CEO or VP as the new James Bond? That's about right.
The ladies love him.
I know, that was a good one.
And as long as we're on the subject, I will shamelessly plug that sometime during the summer, when I am not inundated with schoolwork, we will have our James Bond live series rankings up for you as well. We are going through all 25 to this point. We do not have any guests because nobody has volunteered to watch 25 movies for us, unlike Andrew. But
I actually might be able to take you up on that because I've been meaning to watch all of the Bonds.
there are some that I would normally tell you to skip over, but
No. I've seen all of them up to like I haven't seen like the last two. Those are the only ones that I've never seen.
Okay.
I'm already a Bond girl, but like the different type of Bond.
So No Time to Die, and then
Okay, so you're a Bond girl, not a bondage girl. Got it. Okay.
No,
Moving
I'm also just saying I need to watch some James Bond to help you with rankings.
This is Gmote After Dark. All right. Anyway. And thank you, Klarissa. We do agree that Adele not singing it is kind of a travesty. And frankly, the rearrangement of that, I was not a fan of. But
I thought Doja Cat was really off on her singing as well.
Yeah. She was not the best selection to do that. But moving on. Any other best speech thoughts? We've kind of talked about Culkin. We've talked about briefly, we mentioned Mikey Madison. We mentioned, obviously, the stuff with Adrian Brody and the weirdness that was. If anybody has any boomerang comments.
Well, I'll shout out Paul Tazwell really quickly for winning Best Costume Design. The first black male to win that award is a really cool thing. And so, yeah, that was a nice little moment I thought he had.
And Paul Tazwell went to the same school as my wife did, North Carolina School of the Arts. So this morning, North Carolina School of the Arts was like, "Hey, our costume designer did it," and then I was like, "Oh, that's cool."
That's cool.
I think seeing Paul Tazwell, he gave a really nice speech. I think Brody's was a strange speech, but it was kind of endearing because he's a goofy dude.
I think you might be the only person who has said that.
Like, was it a good speech? No, not really. But
It was not brief when he said it would be. It was meandering. It set a rather weird record that nobody should want to hold. But
Yeah.
sure.
The other one I think I really did appreciate was the No Other Land team.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thought that was a really powerful speech from a movie that maybe we'll see one day if it ever gets picked up for distribution. Obviously, I'm sure it'll hit streaming services at some point, but I think that was a really powerful speech. That might have been the standout speech for me, other than Kieran Culkin's incredibly charming, very funny speech.
You mean the one where he started off by basically cursing at Jeremy Strong?
What did he say to him?
I have no clue because they bleeped like a good 15 seconds there.
It's just funny that, for years everyone's been dogging on Jeremy Strong from that set and being like, he was a nightmare to work with. And then the first person that Culkin turns to is him, which I thought was kind of nice because it's, I kind of worry about Jeremy Strong sometimes.
Yeah, they had a cool little moment on the red carpet about an hour or two before the ceremony too, where right when Kieran got out of his car, he saw Jeremy and he like sprinted over to him and they embraced and kind of had a little moment. It was cool.
I do think among the siblings, the three primary people, because Sarah Snook also seems to be, because they spent so much time together, that there really isn't the animosity that everybody else seems to be, and that some of the comments were taken out of context, but I think to a degree, everybody gave a certain benefit of the doubt to the actor who played the dad and whose name escapes me right now.
Brian Cox.
Brian Cox.
Who
seems to be one of the grumpiest people.
Yeah.
Brian Cox will motherfuck somebody in a minute. He does not hold back.
And then he will say, "Ba-da-ba-ba, I'm loving it."
Look, in the McDonald's things are a perfect thing to show. Brian Cox 100% will do literally anything for a paycheck.
Oh.
But yeah, you look at Strong and you kind of, he didn't smile, he didn't react, he just kind of was there. And the guy is
he cried. What are you talking about?
Okay.
Didn't react. He was like actively crying. He was welling up.
Okay.
I'll say though, like if you lose an Oscar and you really want one, which I get the desire to want one, I think shedding a tear, like, it's not the worst reaction.
But it wasn't him losing that he shed a tear. It was when it was Robert Downey like recognizing him and mentioning he was the kid outside the Oscars in 1993 sleeping on the bleachers, and you could just see him like, oh yeah, this is where I came from.
And Downey Jr. and Jeremy Strong worked together in the movie that everyone remembers that 100% exists, The Judge. Oscar nominated The Judge with no, Jeremy Strong.
Jeremy
Strong. Yeah. Okay.
He's
RDJ and yeah. Okay.
He's the Forrest Gump brother that.
Yeah.
They don't say exactly what is wrong, but yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know that everybody always picks on Jeremy Strong and how intense he is and everything, but you have to stop and remember where he came from. He was Daniel Day-Lewis's assistant before he went into acting.
That would fuck anyone
everything
up.
he learned was from Daniel Day-Lewis.
Well, and to be fair, it's like I don't think you can lump all method actors into one pool. Like, he's not what Jared Leto does has sort of given like all of these guys bad names.
That's not method acting.
That was the first name that came to my mind.
Exactly.
But from my mind to your lips.
It's not like Strong's going out of his way to talk about his craft and tell people how, he just does the work, and it just sort of follows him with, people like dissecting what he's doing and asking questions, and then he has to answer. Obviously, it's same with Day-Lewis. Like I don't fault Day-Lewis for pretending to be Abraham Lincoln for a few months. You know, like
Going to build a canoe in North
Yeah.
Carolina. Like
it work if it works for you, it works for you. And if you're not creating a hostile environment for those around you on set, I don't have an issue with it. And I feel like Strong is liked by his peers, so I don't think Jeremy Strong's like one of the bad ones when it comes to method acting.
No, and I think that's partly why someone like Day-Lewis is retired. He's like, this is just too emotionally draining for me. Like this is just it takes too much out of me.
And
Except he has a new
Sir
movie
Laurence
coming out.
Olivier would say you should just try acting, not doing all this other stuff.
Well, but that was when Dustin Hoffman was the Marathon Man, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
He stayed up for like 72 hours, and Olivier's like, if you can't act, then what,
Right.
You know.
Which is
Speaking
that's
of-
across the board.
Speaking of that era, and I don't want to bring things down necessarily, but I did want to get to this at some point tonight. It would be 2 weeks based on the timing of when the news came out about Gene Hackman that we'd be able to cover him for In Memoriam in a released episode. So I did want to take a few moments here, just given the gravity of the situation. To me, Gene Hackman is up there with like Jack and with Hoffman and certain Duvall, that when they pass away, it marks a specific point in time. All this cadre of 70s actors that are contemporaries with each other, Pacino, De Niro, any of these that move on, I think they need their own specific moment in time. And the fact that Gene Hackman, excuse me, wow. Okay, live episode. Gather yourself, Tom. Gather yourself. Okay. Gene Hackman led off and finished the In Memoriam section, which I will also add from our tiebreaker episode. It was unfathomable to me that the two that we picked were the last two people back to back like that. It was the best thing we could have probably ever done was pick both of those. But anyway, Gene Hackman, back to the moment in time here. One of the great actors, notably a grumpy person, just generally, but from a performance standpoint, so many great roles. I don't think I've ever had a role in where I didn't necessarily like Gene Hackman.
Even when he's playing a despicable character, he is charming and charismatic, and there's something magnetic about his presence. And to me, I think I've just always kind of been a little bit in love with him as an actor. I'm very easily drawn in by him, no matter what he is doing, but especially when he's playing a character who's objectively bad.
I think a perfect way to think about Gene Hackman, yes, take all of his Oscar nominations, and they're for deserved work, but then you put him in something like Crimson Tide, across from Denzel Washington, and it just shows you put two like electric actors in a room, and you just let them yell and bark at each other, and it's about as like that is what movies are for. Like it's just,
Despite one of my dad's favorites, Welcome to Mooseport.
His last film.
no. Well,
That is true.
does anyone know the last time Gene Hackman appeared on our screens? Not Welcome to Mooseport. The last time he was in, like,
Something.
it was in an episode of Diners, Drive-ins, and Dives. And
Really?
he was a patron at this diner, and they didn't know it was Gene Hackman at first, and they're just like coming by. There he is, I don't know, eating a bowl of chili or whatever.
In Albuquerque?
Yeah.
Okay. Or I guess it was Santa Fe.
Santa Fe, yeah, I think it was Santa Fe.
I don't know
I'll,
New Mexico geography. This isn't Breaking Bad.
I would say, as much as I love Gene Hackman in the roles that I love him in, it was kind of a weird passing for me in that, like, it had been 20 plus years since we've seen him, and so like if you had told me Gene Hackman had already passed away, like during the pandemic, I probably could have been like, oh yeah, maybe that, like it just felt like he had already kind of been removed from culture a little bit, and so like it didn't feel the way like David Lynch's passing did, where it was still like a guy who I anticipate would probably have made another film or like still been actively involved in the arts. And I think kind of like Jack Nicholson and a lot of these guys from the 70s, they have so many iconic works. However, they were able to kind of get away with making a lot of bad stuff that nobody really thinks about or talks about anymore because they didn't live in this era now where like you get so scrutinized for every performance and every bad movie you make. If you look at Gene Hackman's run in the 80s, he actually made a whole bunch of shitty movies, kind of like Jack Nicholson did for a period of time. And it's like we've just kind of like forgotten about him when we just pretend he went from like the French Connection to Unforgiven, and like we've just like moved past a decade of his work. And like it's just kind of weird how we've done that. Whereas now every actor is expected to be perfect. Like if Timmy Chalamet has one bad movie, people are gonna like crucify him and hold that over his head, regardless of all the good stuff he does.
I
Well,
think one of
that's
the
the internet
things
age.
too, though, is that his passing and the information regarding his passing
Mm.
is like next level tragic. They still don't
Yeah.
know what happened. And so there's something to be said that he hasn't been in the public eye for quite a while, but he's been writing novels and doing all of those other types of things. He's been focusing on other parts of his career, and he is clearly a brilliant man, but the fact that everyone, like he and his wife both died, and a dog, and it's under mysterious circumstances, but maybe not foul play, it's so weird. And I think that it's hard for the public to hear a story like that and not feel a deep sense of unease that this is somebody who was so highly regarded. How come his kids weren't checking up on him? Yeah, he was 95 years old, but nobody was checking on them. They were eventually discovered. It's so weird and so bizarre. It's going to go down as one of the most bizarre celebrity deaths, I think. And it lends
Yeah.
itself to a little bit more what the fuck rather than your standard, this is sad and tragic in a way that David Lynch as an active filmmaker passing, right, all of a sudden is. So there's a gravitas there that feels
Yeah.
Okay, so let me throw this out there. When we start losing the Diane Keatons and uh, the Dustin Hoffmans and the Jack Nicholsons and basically all the major 70s actors, we obviously lost Donald Sutherland this year. There's just a number of them. Is that going to be more impactful for you, or when we start losing people like Coppola and George Lucas and maybe Marty in the near future?
Well, Marty's gonna
are you
kill me.
are you talking about actors versus directors? Is that
Yes, more or less. Like, I think for some
Ye-
people, they have a closer connection with the actors because they create these characters that we kind of share moments with. Whereas the directors, I think for the like the deep cinephiles, they're more connected because of the breadth of work
yeah.
overall. And I know
ye-
for like Andrew, it's obvious because when you become, I think, a deep cinephile, you're more of a director's person than you are an actor's person. Like you'll watch certain movies for actors because you have your favorites, but it's not in the same way that I'm going out to watch every Christopher Nolan film.
Well, I think one of the things you're kind of getting at, which for me is how I look at this, is you know I feel like we are in dialogue with directors in a way that we're not quite in dialogue with actors. If that makes sense. And losing Marty is gonna gut me. Spielberg. Granted, Spielberg's parents lived to like 100 and 105, so long-lived family. So there's a chance that I'm well into my 60s when Spielberg unfortunately passes. But then someone like a Clint Eastwood who did both.
Mm.
And Eastwood, he's got 4 or 5 directorial movies that I think are just fantastic. He's got a lot that don't cut the mustard, but um,
While you're on
personally,
that subject, I finished Bronco Billy yesterday for Kieran.
I
Um,
did not.
Okay.
What's
but
wrong
then
with Bronco Billy?
I forgot.
It is better than the greatest show of all time, or excuse me, the greatest show
Show
on
on Earth.
earth. It's slightly better.
Yes.
I totally forgot. I gotta watch
Uh,
Bronco Billy. God damn it.
but then, so you think like some of the actors that I think are really going to gut me, obviously I think Harrison Ford, I think watching him on Shrinking is just reminding us that
Yeah.
he is getting older. I mean,
Watching him die in Star Wars, that
whatever Star Wars,
killed. Yeah, that killed me because that was me anticipating his acting, like him as an actor dying, not necessarily the
yeah.
character
Um,
dying. That was so. Yeah, Harrison Ford would be bad.
and there's like, unfortunately, I think we're just in the 70s. There's such a cadre of male actors that really take center stage, and there isn't the female crop. Obviously Meryl Streep's the end of the 70s, so she's still pretty young, pretty spry, it would seem. She's not young, but obviously she's gonna gut me, but I think it's just kind of case by case, uh
Sure.
kind of where the work speaks to you, because there's plenty of actors, not that I'm not gonna care, but someone like who's a
De Niro is going to gut me a lot more than Jack.
who
I think
yeah.
there's it's easier to think that you have a personal connection with actors because you are seeing them, can watch interviews with them. So there's this term for this now, the parasocial relationships. That's such a recent term, but that explains so much of what's been going out through the history of cinema. And so you believe that you know more about someone than you actually do, or you feel like you can see beneath the surface and the way that they choose to approach things. And so you don't have the same ability to connect with a director in that direct way, right? It's through storytelling, but you don't necessarily feel that as a reader reading a book, right? With the author. Yes, you can develop relationships or connections, I guess is really what I'm trying to say, with author au- authors and directors, right? But it makes sense that the first reaction would be to the actors, right? And so
But, well, one of the things I think is that people who tend to love films and such, we're in some way sponges. We absorb bits and pieces of the actors and the performances and the characters, but the directors also. And they become part of ourselves, and it helps define who we are as far
Yeah.
as how we think, how we watch films, how we enjoy films, whatever. For me, it sounds, it might be a little too far off to one direction, but Mel Brooks to me. So much of Mel Brooks helped define my sense of humor, the absurdity of things, and the absurdity of life. Same thing with the Pythons. When the Pythons are all gone, especially John Cleese, who I've always had a connection to. I don't know, because we're both lawyers by trade, but that type of thing. Those people make a bigger connection on me, and that's where I think you start having the impact, where it's not just you lose them, but you feel like you lose a part of yourself.
Yeah, well, I mean, real quick, Tom, if it's like a pure binary question, actors or directors, which one I would feel more weight of loss for, it would probably be the directors, in so much as, and you're right that you kind of pegged that as being my answer, but like with a director, you're only going to get so many projects from a director over the course of their career, for the most part, unless you're a Spielberg where you just have this prolific decades long career. But most directors are only going to make X number of films compared to actors who tend to work a lot faster and quicker. And there's also a lot more actors than there are prominent directors. And so like when a large sizable director passes away, I feel that weight more in terms of like cinema's losing a voice. The actors are just like acting out. You can find another actor to put in that role, this role, etc. There's only so many directors that can really influence cinema on a different level. So that's why the directors always, I feel that more.
What the fuck, Sarah?
What?
You made such a big deal out of not touching your nose for me before, and then for not only Dana, but then you do it for Andrew in back-to-back conversation pieces here. Huh. All right.
Hold on, one question, just because about this topic.
I might just have an itchy nose. You never know.
Yeah, that's it.
Because I'm thinking about the most impactful, celebrity death the last 15 years for me, and it's probably, Philip Seymour Hoffman and Roger Ebert. And I think the reason Ebert was so impactful for me was because he was kind of my entry into looking at film from a critical perspective at a young age, and the person who kind of lit that fire in me. And I don't know if anybody has that same impact with Ebert. It was, I was at work that day, and it just kind of like immediately changed my mood, changed my entire day's trajectory.
Well, we obviously appreciate Mr. Hackman here, and I think a moment of silence would be appropriate. All right. So now let's bring the mood back up just slightly as she touches her nose yet again.
I'm gonna pour one out.
Let's go to question number 2, which I think Andrew might find easier than question number 1. Which of these 3 actors was not in an Oscar-nominated movie this year? Mike Feist, Daveed Diggs, or Alessandra Nivola?
I know my answer. I know who it is. It's Mike Feist.
You are correct.
Yeah, because Daveed Diggs is in Nickel Boys, which, in my opinion, should have won Best Picture. And then Alessandro Nivola was in The Brutalist.
You are correct.
And
Mike
actually,
Feist should have been in an Oscar-nominated film for Challengers this year.
I 100% agree.
Challengers should have won 8,000 awards.
Tom, have you started White Lotus?
I got about halfway through the first episode, and between all of my travels and travails and work and whatever else, basically going from most days 9 a.m. to about 10 p.m., no, I have not gotten much further.
So I'll just say the Southern family from North Carolina, Alessandro Nivola and Emily Mortimer's son is the youngest kid.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of, they're all, I don't know about the middle daughter, but the oldest son is a Schwarzenegger and a Kennedy, I guess.
Yes.
And then the youngest is Nivola. In
Okay.
Mortimer.
So at this point, guess the ratings. Any guesses as to what we ended up with last night?
I probably don't want to know.
I don't care to know. I don't think it matters in this day and age. Like ratings are sort of superfluous with streaming and the international level of, I had friends in Australia messaging me yesterday. That's not going to show up on a Nielsen rating or something like that. And so who really cares?
I couldn't even watch the broadcast the second that it switched over from the red carpet to the actual broadcast. I couldn't get in. I had a 404 error over and over again. Hulu kept telling me to reinstall the app. I was watching it on my desktop computer. How can I do that? I could not watch the broadcast. And then I was like, well, I guess I could go pay big money to get YouTube Live or whatever. But by then I already missed everything. So I then it's midnight over here and I'm refreshing Hulu and I'm finally logged in, but there's no option for anything related to the Oscars. So no matter what the numbers are, they can't be accurate because
I know they made such a big deal for the Hulu thing and they botched it horribly. But for what it's worth,
I'd say 12 million.
The actual millions of people that watched this was 18.1, which is 7% down from last year, which
You had Barbenheimer last year. Yeah. Barbenheimer last year. That
nobody
Gosling's going to get up there.
Movies.
Yeah, Gosling's going to get up there and do his silly numbers. Obviously, Oppenheimer was a huge hit. And Wicked was a big hit, but everyone kind of knew, that probably drew some people to watch the opening numbers, which I thought were, Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande are just so talented. It
Yeah.
is, Erivo especially just has one of the most immaculate voices, I think, ever. And Grande's, I love Grande and Wicked. I think she's incredible. And it made me actually appreciate her as an actress.
Oh yeah.
And actually,
Agreed.
my right around the time Wicked was coming out, my daughter was really like binging. Oh God, what's the show she was on? Whatever show she came from, the Disney show. Was it Sam and Cat? Maybe.
I don't know.
Um,
That would have required me to pay attention to the Disney Channel in the last 5 years,
in
15 years, 20 years. I don't know.
Well, and I think that's where her comedic chops came from. So I think that rendition of "Somewhere Over the Rainbow" I thought was really stunning. I thought it was quite good.
I
And
wish
then
I could
defying,
have probably seen it live, but yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then Arriva's "Defying Gravity" I think is probably now, in my opinion, better than Idina Menzel's.
I have to agree.
It's going to be hard to argue that. Like
Yeah.
just her being able to hold that end moment in that way is probably iconic at this point. So, all right, let's move on to some other pieces of business. The annual bad movie bet.
It sounds like Tom won this.
So
He
I
did.
think we split on. Gosh, varying. All right, yes, I won. We're not
Yeah.
even going to do the preamble. We're not going to go through it. No.
What is? But I don't know what it is.
Okay, so the annual bad movie bet, our Oscars bet, is based on our predictions. Whoever makes more predictions correctly gets to pick a bad movie for the other person to watch and do an episode of the show on. Simon Says, released yesterday, because my dad likes to put off his bets until the very last minute of things, including the pickles that he still has yet to eat, of which now he owes me 2 bowls. And I was trying to be nice to him. He just won't pay up. But anyway, I digress.
Yeah.
Regardless, he had to do Simon Says this year. I picked for him a new film. That would be one of the films that he claims he never walked out on, but I've heard him say he did walk out on it. So
No.
I don't know.
You can ask Eric because he and I watched it together at the Orpheum Theater on State Street in Madison.
And nobody knows who Eric is because you didn't explain it or preamble it.
My friend who was home this weekend from high school, he and I met up while he was at Madison and went to see this. So I even reminded him of it, and he goes, "No, we didn't walk out. We wanted to."
Anyway, St. Elmo's Fire is what Dana's going to have to do for the show next year.
Look,
And if I watched it beforehand, then I would probably say Demi Moore does not deserve an Academy Award based on the fact that performance still lingers in shit.
You strenuously object to her not winning the Oscar now. But
that seems like I've not seen it, but a pretty unobjectionable movie. Where it's like, even if you're like bored by it.
Okay.
It's
Go
a-
listen to any of Dana's reactions on the Breakfast Club and you'll
Yeah,
understand.
no. I listened to the Breakfast Club episode, which,
Is it as bad as Shampoo?
No, that one was funny. It had a lot of sexual innuendo and tension
hold on,
in the room.
Yes.
innuendo?
Yeah, okay, all right. It was not very subtle at all. I
There
mean, we
was
were talking about
explicit innuendo.
overcompensating hair dryers.
That was probably the best
okay.
blowjob on the show.
But anyway, yes, the final moment of where things went down, I thought for sure, because Demi Moore was the prohibitive favorite for Best Actress, that my audacious pick of Mikey Madison was going to come back to bite me. And then she wins, and I win.
So
I know.
curious. I'm just looking at the acting pool last night. How many of the actors did y'all get correct?
How many of the actors did I get correct?
I'm curious with everyone because
I got all 4.
you got all 4 correct.
Yeah.
Okay, I got
The only 5 that I got wrong last night was I went out on a limb for original song, thinking Diane Warren would finally get hers. I did not get Flo, which Andrew is like taking a victory lap, even though he got 3 less right than me overall for the night. And I got all the shorts wrong, but everything else I got right. So 18 out of 23. I was 435th ranked overall of thousands of people on ESPN last night.
It's not bad. I got all but one of the actors wrong. I picked Chalamet. I thought he had the momentum. I picked Ariana Grande because I was like, I just don't think they're gonna want to deal with Amelia Perez. I thought she'd be the easy slot in, and then I picked Demi Moore.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was like looking back. I'm like, I'm an idiot. I should have picked Brody because he was in the big. I also thought that they were going to Honora and Brulis were going to split more. I thought that director would have gone Corbet, and then picture would have gone Honora.
You could kind of tell, though, when some of the leaks started happening about a week ago with a lot of the voters anonymously saying they hadn't finished The Brutalist and hadn't watched Dune and stuff like that. And it sort of felt like Honora was clearly like gaining the momentum. The Demi Moore thing did still surprise me in the end, just because she had been winning the majority of the awards and she was seated in a prominent position last night that it almost felt like they were sort of tipping their hand that she was going to win. I don't have a problem with Mikey winning, but I think the problem is body horror. Just people have a hard time.
Has Dune 2 finished yet?
Fuck off.
But can we please point out the irony, okay, of Demi Moore in The Substance, the message of The Substance, Demi winning, and her beautiful speech about saying that she was told that she was a popcorn actress and she was never going to win awards, how meaningful all of that is. She's there. We all think that she's going to get it and that it's the one award that The Substance is going to get. And the award goes to the 20-something young woman instead. And I don't have anything against Mikey Madison. I think the tragic irony of that is too much for me as a woman to swallow, quite frankly. And that doesn't mean that Mikey Madison is a bad person, and it doesn't mean that it was a bad performance. I think that that was the most fucked up possible look that could have happened. It is almost as unforgivable as challengers being completely snubbed for any award whatsoever, but particularly the soundtrack.
Yeah, for the score, most definitely. But I don't have any of those feelings, particularly, and this is the reason.
Because you're a man.
I know.
Because you're a man.
That's true.
So fuck off.
I have male genitalia. I will not deny that. But I will say that I picked her to win because it seems like the last several years, whatever wins Best Picture wins a slew of awards right now. Like we're in a small mini era where Oppenheimer wins like 6 or 7 different ones and basically kind of like romps through, and Parasite wins a ton. Everything Everywhere All at Once won like 6 or 7. So
I guess the Coda year is the last one where it didn't really congeal like that.
Well, Nomadland kind of. I mean, it won director and it won actress and it won Best Picture, but I don't remember it winning. Maybe it won editing. But outside of that, I didn't think it was like a ton. But it wasn't like the mid 2010s where it seemed like it was kind of every award seemed to be its own thing.
Yeah. No, I remember. I know what you mean. Did y'all happen to see the Eater Awards for films this year? What they picked for challengers? Eater. Just think Eater. What would challengers win?
The
churro.
Churro.
Oh yes.
Literally, honestly, that churro scene is probably what I think about more than any other thing in a movie last year. Him chomping that churro. Just, do you not remember it, Sarah?
No, I remember it. That's the scene that you remember more than any other scene in a movie last year?
Just because he's like holding it, and it's so phallic, it's so funny that he just like leans over and just chomps it out of his mind, like because that movie's all
We're gonna
filled
save
with.
you from yourself here, Peterson, and move on to something else. Best random celebrity reaction behind a winner. It wasn't behind a winner, but I loved Ray Fiennes' reaction when they were talking about Isabella Rossellini during the best supporting actress. I mean, he just looked so precious, just
He
like honoring it.
did.
So
He-
I have a question about Rossellini because I like Conclave. I
Yes.
like Rossellini as an actress, but I just that I don't know how she got nominated for that movie. She's
No idea.
like she has about 4 lines of dialogue.
Most
She's
of the
still
time
better.
it's-
She's still better than Zoe Saldana, but you
Well,
could have easily
Yeah.
taken Zoe Saldana out and put in Margaret Qualley, and then
Yeah.
everything would have been fine.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I think you can
Would
take
it
both out.
would it really have been fine?
No, it would have been fine.
Or
It would have been
fines.
fine.
Oh, I guess if your definition is just fine, then yes, okay. It would not have been great or excellent or but
Here's the
fine
thing.
if that's
I
all
think,
we're trying to achieve.
I think Isabella Rossellini, that is a legacy nomination.
Yes.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
so I enjoyed her in Conclave. I really liked seeing her. My favorite movie that she's in is Death Becomes Her because she looks like Louise Brooks the whole time and is basically naked. And that movie came out at the perfect age for me because I was alive when it was a new movie. And yes, it was an awakening of sorts.
Speaking of which, Andrew has a heart out here in a couple of minutes, so I wanted to
Uh-oh.
give him an opportunity to promote whatever he's got going on at Rev Almanac here.
Oh gosh, you don't need to do that, Tom.
I do too need to do that. I'm doing that for everybody who gave us some of their time this evening.
Yes.
Okay, really quickly, I'll run it down for you. On Friday, I'm doing an episode with Sara and Klarissa, who was here a little bit ago. We covered 1934, went through all the revisions, and I think some of the winners and some of our decisions might surprise a few people.
Dropping on Friday?
Dropping on Friday.
Dropping on Friday.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
not
then-
recording. It was kind of a weird phrasing, but okay.
Yeah, the episode will be up on Friday, available to listen to. We had so much fun doing it that we're actually going to be doing a live Instagram special later this month. We couldn't get to all the questions that we got submitted. Also, on the record, I think I'm going to be dropping the question submissions sooner than later because I get like 30 plus every time, and I don't have time for that many hours of podcasting in a month. So that'll probably be dwindling down soon. And then the two other things I got going on right now, it's March, it's Women's History Month. In the middle of this month, I've got a really fantastic collaboration project I'm curating right now where I've got 20 or so women podcasters and content creators, and they're all putting together little segments talking about their favorite female-centric films, female directors, voices, etc. And the entire episode is going to be 100% women talking. I'm not going to be present on the episode at all. I've got somebody doing an intro, somebody doing an outro, so that'll be up mid-March. And then finally, I did a huge Oscars collaboration again this year. I don't know if I can continue this next year if it grows in the size with which it did this time. I had like 400 plus ballots I've been counting for the last month. Effectively, what it was we took the actual nominees for all the 6 categories I cover on the show: picture, director, and acting. We had people rank from 1st to 5th or 1st to 10th their favorite based on preference. And it was a preferential ballot for all the categories like the Oscars do for picture. And I just wanted to see kind of head to head, how would our votes compare to what actually happened at the Oscars? If you're interested in the results, head over to the Instagram page, Rev Almanac, and you can see it's pinned to the top. But we didn't agree too much as a collective with what actually won last night. And it's always a little interesting sort of sociological experiment to see a year or two down the line if things have held up as well. I think The Substance will continue to age the best of any film in 2024, which is the film that our collective body of 400 people picked as the best picture. And I think that will be a better legacy film than Anora, personally.
All right.
That's,
Well,
that's all I got, Tom.
Thank you very much, Andrew, for being on with us. If you need to sayonara, we completely understand. We will carry on in your stead. All right. So
He was gone so quickly.
Wow. Just boom.
people drop in and out of your lives constantly. It's the way it is. Anyway, we'll go to our third Oscars trivia question. Before this year, what other Robert Eggers films have been nominated for an Oscar?
Definitely The Lighthouse, because it was cinematography.
How many different awards or how many different films?
How many? Let me look at the phrasing here. What other Robert Eggers films have been nominated for an Oscar?
I think it's just The Lighthouse.
You are correct, sir. It is The Lighthouse, and you got the correct award for cinematography. So, all right. I will say they do get harder from here on out.
I have not seen Nosferatu yet. Because my wife's like, I want to watch that. And every night she falls asleep at like 9 o'clock. And I'm like, God, come on. Like,
There's an extended cut now available as well.
Has anybody heard? Is it supposed to be better? Worse? Which one do I need to check out? I
watched it last night because I couldn't watch the Oscars until this morning. I didn't notice anything different, so just pick one.
How much longer is it?
There was I don't know. I was grading while I was watching it. So I was like, when do we get to the Harding necrophilia scene? Okay, and go. That's what I was waiting for. So
okay. Well, that is one way to put it. All right. The one win you were happy did not happen last night.
Amelia Perez not winning Best Picture. That made me happy.
That movie just...
I think that's a little... I mean, yes, I am happy because I have no desire to really watch it. I think it's a little too easy, so I'm trying to think of something a little more difficult where, you know, I guess I'm glad that Sebastian Stan did not win for playing Donald Trump, because I think he gave a phenomenal performance in A Different Man. Like, should have been nominated for that. And I think it's the kind of movie that if he would have won for that, people would have been like, oh, come on. And I think it would make his life in Hollywood so much harder. And after this year, I think I'm excited to see what Sebastian Stan does in a way that I don't know if I've ever really been super excited about Sebastian Stan. You know, I think he's good as Donald Trump. But is he better than A Different Man? Obviously, I think he's kind of nominated for the year with The Apprentice, but I think that's the kind of win that would make it harder. It's like the worst thing that ever happened to something like some movies is winning Best Picture.
I'll go in a like really unheralded category that almost no one else is going to talk about at all. But Wander to Wonder and Beautiful Men not winning Best Animated Short, thank you. I'm not like that impressed with what actually won, but those two movies are so freaking weird. Wow. I mean, I personally had Magic Candies in there, but at least it was something that was a little bit meaningful, and it looked like it meant quite a lot to the people that actually won it.
Yeah, I do. I always love seeing the shorts win. Just people getting up there and being like, "This is insane! I can't believe I'm up here." I think that's always a very exciting thing to watch.
The one win you wish did happen.
The Wild Robot for Best Animated Feature.
I love that movie. It's a wonderful movie.
It is gorgeous. It is heartfelt. It's yeah, that's the one that I was really actually like. I didn't get any of my favorites chosen in any of the categories, whatever, that's totally fine. But I was also prepared for none of my favorites to win in any of the regular categories. The Substance isn't going to win, but it was my most favorite movie of the year besides Challengers, which, still not going to get over it. But Wild Robot was the one where I was like, it has to win. It has to win. I felt such an emotional connection to that film. And it, again, Flow isn't bad, but it was also nominated for international I don't know. That made me sad.
The only reason because I do love the Wild Robot, and I really love Flow too. Being that it's the first movie from Latvia to win any Academy Awards, and did you guys see the video of him learning about the nomination with his dog?
No.
Yes.
He rolls back and he cuddles with his dog. He's so happy, and he's
cute.
in what looks like a dorm room.
Yeah.
Truly, it is this guy. It's gonna change his life in a way that makes me feel good for that win. I think. I'll say my big one is probably, I like Tenora. I know Andrew's big on The Substance. Nickel Boys winning Best Picture would have been a big one for me. I think that's potentially the movie of the decade.
I think I would have rather seen it win screenplay over Conclave, just personally. That would have been the one where I would have picked it to win, or a wish, because one, Edward Berger has a bunch of awards from a couple of years ago already. But two, I guess it wasn't him who won. It was
he didn't win.
It was somebody else who wrote the screenplay. But I made my thoughts clear on Conclave and my disappointment by that movie. So I thought, at least for what Ramel Ross did to adapt the screenplay, even if I didn't necessarily like the cinematography of it and felt it was difficult for me to connect with the movie, I still think he probably should have won at least that award.
Yeah, and it truly is. It's a true feat of adaptation too. Because I don't know if anybody's read the novel. I love Colson Whitehead. It's probably my favorite contemporary author.
That's a Freudian slip for you there, Southerner.
Whitehead's book is told from an omniscient perspective. And Ramel Ross changes it to be first person perspective, to be the point of view perspective. And I think that alone is such a substantial change. And what he chooses to kind of not show, and I mean, I love the adaptation's incredible. I think it's but I think it's hard to nominate the Nickel Boys for Best Picture and not have it nominated for cinematography. Because if you like Nickel Boys, you have to like the cinematography.
I would agree. One of the things that I was going to say about Conclave winning Best Adapted Screenplay, they did a live read of it, and watching the live read with all of these other actors, there was some humor involved in it, but they also took it seriously. And that, to me, watching that solidified how good that screenplay is, because it's highly effective pretty much no matter who's involved in it. And in that sense, I was kind of like, I think that's the only thing that I thought should win actually won. Brutalist for cinematography, no, I wasn't, because I agree, Nickel Boy's far superior.
Okay, let's just put this here. The true winner of cinematography should have been Challengers, but
Challengers should win everything.
It was my number one of last year.
Challengers would have been in my top 5, so it would have been 20 years ago. It would have been a nominee for me, but cinematography not the win for me.
For Brutalist,
the ball
or
shots,
for
Challengers. I think it's. I mean, it's great. It's very
the ball shots. Sorry,
the ball shots.
That just caught up with me. Sorry.
Luca really loves taking ball shots.
For that kind of reaction.
Yeah, and I'm glad Dune 2 didn't win best cinematography. I mean, that movie is well shot. It's just
It's not as good as the first one.
I think they're both pretty sleepy.
Okay.
I will say that somebody was making the comment last night that Lord of the Rings: The Two Tower was also nominated for Best Picture and won Sound and Visual Effects before The Return of the King. And what did Dune win for? Anyway,
Sound
just
and
saying.
effects, yeah. Blah.
But it's going to have a very hard competition when Messiah comes out if it's going to be 2026, because the list of directors currently making films for 2026 is pretty
Stacked.
big. Spielberg, Nolan, Eggers has got his next film then. I
How
think
do
I
we-
sent.
I'm excited for Nolan and The Odyssey.
Yeah.
I will say
Big
I'm
time.
pumped for Spielberg.
Mhm.
Him returning after The Fablemans, which I think is like an incredible film. I think him returning to the alien genre just has me like giddy. I'm like, what's my boy gonna do? What's he gonna
Jordan
do?
Peele's also got a movie set for 2026. So
Yeah.
it's.
Well, there's talk that Marty would be doing Devil in the White City in 2026 if he can find the studio who wants to buy it. They were in competition.
Yeah, it's
And we still have not heard back from QT on, now that he shelved his previous project, what
Mhm.
else he's going to do for the last one.
well, no, I thought with Marty though, he's doing the Rock movie next, right?
Correct. That I think is
Yeah.
supposed to be out. Is it this year or early in 2026?
Isn't he making that like Jesus short film kind
No,
of thing?
well, he's producing the Saints, but then he
Oh,
was gonna do Jesus in New York. I don't know what it's actually called, but he's doing the Rock Emily Blunt Hawaii thriller movie next. I'm like, talk about a mad lib of a description of how you can describe a movie at the moment. Dwayne the Rock Johnson, Emily Blunt, Hawaii thriller, Martin Scorsese. It's just
Did you see The Jungle Book? Because that was several of those things excellently done.
the Jungle Book, Jungle Cruise.
Jungle Cruise. Sorry, Jungle Cruise. Yeah, sorry, The Jungle Book. Oh, so deep in mysterious. No, Jungle Cruise. Sorry, Jungle Cruise.
I thought they had fun chemistry. They were good
It was.
together.
I loved that movie.
Mhm.
It was so fun.
okay. That's going out on a limb. But all right. It is time
Yes,
for me to
yes.
discuss one particular thing. So let me hit the publish button here. We will be publishing live my 4th annual Best Picture re-rankings. Okay. And it is now live on the website. So you can go to ronnieduncanstudios.com/Gmote podcast to find that. It is now up, and I will try and share my screen for anyone who is watching live. We'll see how well this works or not. La-di-da.
I got him here.
Boom.
Oh.
All right, so we've got Tom's 4th annual Best Picture rankings. Not much changing among the top handful, about top 10-ish. But there is some extraordinary movement in the other parts of this list.
I don't know if the live stream. Oh, yeah, there it is. Okay, never mind.
Tom.
Peterson.
Just playing mid for Amadeus. Come on.
Oh, he's already scrolling way down in the.
Well, I'm trying to find it.
Well, first off, I will say I moved that up because Amadeus, Titanic, Unforgiven, and Patton were all sitting in the aggressively fine category. And I'm like, I probably can't do that and not get an entire amount of backlash from everyone. So I'm going to create
yes.
a new category where I separate my personal favorites among the ones that are probably worse, but that are still personal favorites. So I basically split that category and put these in their own smaller category here.
Well, it's silly that Titanic and Unforgiven are. You got to bump Titanic up at least 40 spots.
No, not happening.
It's not that good.
That's wild.
Well, our newest entry,
Where is
Nora, comes in at 43 right now. just
There.
ahead of Sunrise, A Song of Two Humans, a film only apparently I recognize as a Best Picture winner, even though it is.
It's totally a Best Picture
Mhm.
winner. You're not the only one.
He's not the only one. But coming in at the bottom 5, Chariots of Fire at 95, Tom Jones at 96, Cimarron at 97, and my personal
Cimarron!
nemesis that I have had at the bottom of the list of all 4 of these re-rankings, All the King's Men.
You prefer the 2006 film?
No, I prefer neither of them.
I forever now, I hate Cimarron so much, but I am constantly, so there's actually a Cimarron high school here in town, as well as a Cimarron drive and all of that type of stuff. So I am inundated with Cimarron all of the time, and every single time I hear it in William Shatner's voice, a la Khan. Cimarron. You're welcome.
So you have your dull and bloated here, and I think there may be some like quibbles with a few of these. I know some people would really take me to the woodshed over Mutiny on the Bounty falling that low, but I really do not like that movie.
You got crashed pretty high, honestly.
The Broadway Melody, I'm fine with the way like number ranking, but dull and bloated, dull maybe. I'm a big defender of that movie because I understand why it won, but bloated, how would you define it as bloated? It's so bare bones. That's a topic for another day.
I'm sorry, I missed which film we're talking about.
The Broadway Melody.
Okay, it's not exactly bloated because it's very short, but dull, sure. And I couldn't really put it too many other places.
I mean, right. I would categorize it usually as bad, but that's a higher number rank. So I'm not taking umbrage with like the number ranking.
But I'm not putting, I'm not putting the Broadway Melody ahead of An American in Paris or Dances with Wolves.
I'm talking about the label bloated.
Okay, but how? And it doesn't actively anger me. Like that
no,
was literally.
I get it.
That
So
was literally
bloated.
the last Best Picture that I had to watch because I had to find it like in the deep recesses of YouTube in order to finish off the Best Picture winners at one point.
It's on Amazon. But anyway, I just like making you mad, Tom.
Okay. Well, that holds to reason. Anyway, I know I'm also out on a limb by having the Great Ziegfeld a lot higher than most people, but that's all right.
Interesting.
What is going on over at the Hill household? Got so much commotion over there.
Things are wild here. I'm always grabbing something at the back.
I also know that even though my dad and I love Gentleman's Agreement in a way that almost no one else does, coming in at 52 probably will spark some issues, but I don't care.
I noticed that. It wasn't... I really like that film.
And Birdman moved up significantly for me this year after I had to rewatch it for Andrew's show for 2014.
It moved up, huh?
It moved up quite a bit. I want to say it moved up at least 20 some spots, if I remember.
Wait, where's it at?
Kind of like gastric reflux. Not a fan of that film.
It's not good.
It's just bizarre and hard to figure out and follow and understand what the point is.
I got so much more out of it.
Which one?
When I didn't watch it with my mother, constantly saying, "What's going on? What's going on? I don't get it."
Birdman.
Birdman. Okay.
If you don't want that, don't watch a movie with your mother.
Don't watch anything that's not immediately straightforward. Yeah, okay, got it. Midnight Cowboy also moved significantly up on this year's list after our episode this last year on it.
Because it's an amazing film.
I mean,
I would have it ranked way
this
higher, but that's me.
16 through 20 for most people would be easily inside a top 10.
Nope. Midnight Cowboy for me would be top 10. 16, 17, and 18 wouldn't even be in my top 20 or even 25.
And I know I have Rebecca a lot higher than some people.
That seems about right.
Leaving
for
Gone with
Rebecca
the
for me.
Wind at 21 is a little bit of a respect move, but it's grown on me a little bit despite its obvious shortcomings. So again, for anyone on audio, you can look at the list live on RonnieDuncanStudios.com/Gmote podcast. If you're watching the video, you can probably already see this list in full, but
The 48, 49, 50 is all three of those are so low. Unforgiven, Titanic, and Amadeus should all be bumped up significantly. Are you just not you hate Unforgiven? What's up?
No,
It's not-
Unforgiven is good. Titanic needs to be way.
I
way
am
lower.
just not that high on all three of those films. That's why it's just plain mid.
Yeah.
I had to create that separate category because leaving them in the like top of the aggressively fine category, I couldn't really honestly, even as much as I like Coda, put them like below Coda. That there's a certain level of like the quality versus my own personal subjectivity. You got to create some boundaries, but
Yeah.
but Oppenheimer holding strong at 23.
Yeah, and that's it's tough seeing a movie and then immediately putting it on, and that seems about right for Oppenheimer at the moment. Kind of feel like that in the coming years is going to go up for me in these rankings.
I think I put it as high as I did last year, and it was about the same spot on the list this year from where it was last year. It was a movie that had to grow on me, but that everybody recognized as great in the moment. And so I think I kind of split the difference between it just simply being a personal favorite and being something that I think most people recognized at the time was already a potentially great film.
So it's not as much of a shower for you; it's more of a grower. But because to me, I wonder if Oppenheimer is going to kind of age like Interstellar for me, where I left Interstellar
as a
being
fungus film,
being like, oh, I really like Interstellar. Like this is really liked it, and then now I'm like, is this Nolan's best film?
the answer is no, but okay.
Oh, I don't know.
Oppenheimer is probably his best film, and then it's Dunkirk.
So when I ranked his movies a couple years ago, I had Dunkirk in I think number 2, but it was like right as it came out, and I think it bumped it to 1, and I think now Dunkirk's 2, but Oppenheimer might be 1. I don't know.
I am a
Good filmmaker.
Dunkirk stan. I will fight for that movie.
It's fantastic. I mean, I love Dunkirk. I'm look. I would not consider myself like a Nolan like head that is gonna be an asshole in chat rooms and stuff, and like say you're gonna like I don't know. I'm gonna like
So
come to your
instead,
house.
you're going to be the asshole on the podcast.
But I even go for Tenet. I think Tenet's fan. I love Tenet.
I like Tenet too.
Tenet's so good.
It's really fun.
That's the one Nolan movie I'm just like completely out on. Even Insomnia, I'm like, yeah, okay, this is okay. And I'm not nearly as high on Memento as everybody else is. I don't know why. I think when we do it again for the show next spring, I think it is, I'm hoping to change my opinion. The one underrated one that I know almost no one has seen is Following. And that one, like, to me, clearly shows what he was going to become.
It's a very good like statement purpose film. Like I can do stuff.
I think it's only like 70 to 80 minutes, so it's well worth your time.
It's a quick watch. I think Insomnia gets ragged on a little too hard. That is a perfectly serviceable thriller. If that thing came out in 1995, people would have lost their minds. And if it came out today, we'd lose our minds.
The only reason Insomnia gets a bad rap is because it basically has to be the last Nolan film for everybody because something has to come last. It's fine, it's serviceable, but it feels to me like Nolan's equivalent of a Ron Howard film. It's not great, it's not terrible, it's just kind of all right.
Maybe I think Pacino's fantastic in it. He's I think really locked into that movie.
So, any last thoughts here before we kind of move on again?
No. Wait, what? So what category did Nora fall in? I'm just curious. It was in the
It
Personal
fell in my
favorites.
personal favorites. In between Kramer versus Kramer and Sunrise, A Song of Two Humans.
I wonder if you can show somebody who watched Sunrise, A Song of Two Humans, and like really loved it in 27 upon its initial release. If they came out and they watched Nora, if they'd seen that, and then they just watched Nora,
They would probably keel over of a heart attack.
Sunrise is technically a better movie because that was silent film
I
at the
I prefer
top,
Sunrise.
at the cream of the crop, going out on top. Better film than Anora.
I think Sunrise, A Song of Two Humans is a substantially better film than Nora, and I like Nora.
Yeah, the themes aren't really all that different, honestly, but Sunrise does it better. So
Good double feature.
A rather unique double feature, but sure. All right. So we will stop the share. Go back to the regular show here. We have a few minutes here before I think we will have our last guest, hopefully, depending on how late he is or is not. So I still have 3 different trivia questions to play.
Yeah.
I think he might be disappointed if he misses number 4 in here. So maybe I will just go with 6 and switch up the order. Who are the only 2 people before last night to win 4 Oscars in the same awards? And this is a trick question.
Well,
in the same category?
No.
No.
So
4
kind of
awards
Bong,
in the same night.
kind of Bong Joon-ho, but he won international, so it went to South Korea, not to him. So he theoretically is on that list, right? Is that the
Peterson got the trick.
Which is so stupid that you give South Korea an Oscar. Come on, just give it to the filmmakers.
I've never particularly liked that, or limiting what the submissions are for a country, but
yeah.
Yeah.
I was actually relatively surprised, Tom, to see Parasite so high up.
it's only out of a sheer respect for other people's opinions, and that's why it's in the great movies category as opposed to my own personal
Yeah.
feelings.
Mm.
Like I try and blend a certain level of objectivity with subjectivity, which is why I created certain personalized categories, such as the movies that just make me mad.
He doesn't want to
And-
get yelled at on the internet. That's it.
Only to a certain bit. I mean, I'm going to get yelled at for having Titanic in the 40s, but
Yeah, you should.
No, that's
But
where.
I mean,
agree
like
with
you got Green Book. What's that? It was like 70 something. That seems
Yeah.
about right for Green Book. You know, Driving Miss Daisy. That seems about right.
But the other one, and it was often mentioned on the internet last night, that was Walt Disney in 1953. He won 4 Oscars in the same night, but for 4 different films.
Yep.
Wait, so what was it? Who were the 4?
They were.
Of
I
course,
think
you're going to
back
make
then,
me look during a live stream.
It's like probably animated short. It might also be live action short because they were doing like documentary type stuff.
Okay.
Um,
Song of the South, probably.
and might
Okay.
also have to do with editing and stuff like that, I think.
Looking here. Boy, I'm not. Am I in the wrong Oscars? I might be. Might have been for the year after. Because I'm not seeing him winning any for the year that I'm currently sitting on.
What year are you looking at?
I thought they said it was for 1953, so maybe I need to look at the 1954 winners or year, whatever.
I think it's in the 30s.
Okay, so he won Best Documentary Short Subject for The Alaskan Eskimo. He won the Best Documentary Feature for The Living Desert. He won Best Short Subject 2 Reel for Bear Country. And he won Best Short Subject Cartoon for Toot, Whistle, Plunk, and Boom.
So teaching people about music.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah. All right. That yeah, I'm glad I looked that up.
Well, I was
How
expecting.
can you have a quiz trivia and not already have the
Oh, danger, Will Robinson, because the next two questions are brutal, and I do have every example up.
Okay.
How is
Those
that
will take quite a
danger?
while, but I was waiting for our last guest to show his face because he'll enjoy some questions.
Some questions?
Some questions. So, all right.
Kieran coming
Anything that,
last.
yes. Anything that I haven't asked so far that we'd like to talk about last night's Oscars yet?
Mm. I feel
No,
like I
not
had
really.
something to say about best skit or joke. I was definitely thinking about it this afternoon. But now
Okay.
I can't
Well,
now I
let's
can't remember what it is.
let's
How
take
long-
Peterson's idea then and project onto next year. Any thoughts on what may or may not be up for awards next year? I know that's hard to predict because we don't even know half the time what movies are coming out.
I mean, there's a new Paul Thomas Anderson.
Yep.
Granted,
There's gonna
it's like
be yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
there's $120 million budget on it. It's the biggest thing he's ever done. I really want to see it because he's one of my favorite contemporary filmmakers. Obviously there's Wicked Part 2,
You've got Avatar 3.
Avatar 3, which
Guillermo del Toro too.
Frankenstein, yeah,
Right?
What
and
are you
Maggie
talking about,
Gyllenhaal's
Dad? You didn't even watch Avatar 2. Why are you
I
groaning?
know.
Maggie Gyllenhaal's Bride of Frankenstein is also coming
28 years
Oh,
later.
that's right.
20 years later. Yep. I wonder if there's a summer movie this summer that's gonna
Karate
make
Kid
it in.
Legends.
Well, I wonder if something like James Gunn's Superman, which I think looks really good. If there could be something like that slides in.
Maybe on a technical basis. I don't know if it would be up for Best Picture. It would have to be extraordinarily good. Which,
Yeah, but
if it is, oh my God, will I be like in Nerdvana? But yeah.
Hard to believe.
Let's
what
see here. A list of potential ones are After the Hunt, another Luca Guadagnino film starring Julia Roberts, Andrew Garfield, and Ayo Edebiri. We've
I
got
did right. Yeah.
Avatar.
Can we just resubmit challengers for all of the awards?
I'm not
Like
opposed to it.
add an extra 5 minutes,
We've
re-edit and say do challengers and then redo the soundtrack for best soundtrack.
The Ballad of a Small Player by Edward Berger, starring Colin Farrell and Tilda Swinton.
So that's
That's going to be on
Well,
Netflix.
there's two
so
actors that never seem to find ways to like create weird characters.
Yorgos Lanthimos is working with Emma Stone again on Bugonia.
They need to take a little time apart, I think. I love Emma Stone. I
liked a new hairdo.
I liked Poor Things enough, but it was about 45 minutes too long. I was like, this is you
Okay.
guys. I got the point.
I'm gonna plant my flag now that if it's at all any good, Deliver Me from Nowhere, the Bruce Springsteen biopic starring Jeremy Allen White, will be up for something.
Oh yeah,
I bet he gets an
always
Oscar
are.
nomination.
Yeah.
I wonder, being that it is the final Mission Impossible film, it would appear.
I mean, sound and visual effects, but it's not getting anything else.
Why is it the last one? Because
allegedly Tom Cruise is going to die.
Cruise is worried about breaking a hip.
Well, and he's starting to do like serious
Is
work
he gonna
again
die
because
in real life?
yeah,
Like, is it
he's
actually
been
going
rumored to
away?
be working with several different directors. Like he's in the new Inarritu film, I think, and he had been rumored to be the lead in the Tarantino project before it got shelved. So it looks like he may be switching from doing all the action stuff and trying to kill himself to, okay, I want to get my Oscar again.
But I mean, some others, I think it's too early in the year, but people seem to really like Mickey 17, the new Bong joint. Avatar: Fire and Ash is obviously could be up there. I think if the Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse comes out in 2025, the first two were so beloved. I think that has a good chance of not winning, but I think at least maybe getting a nomination. Aladdin 2, 100% probably getting a Best Picture nomination, right?
I know this is going to be a personal one to you, Peterson, but the adaptation of High and Low by Spike Lee is going to be potentially out.
Highest and lowest, right? And that what it's
Highest
called?
2, the number 2, lowest.
Highest 2. That was it. God, I cannot wait. I mean, look, I know I hadn't even seen Gladiator 2, and I was like, oh,
I didn't
Denzel's
even
gonna
know,
win, but
I didn't even know this was going to be a thing. Noah Baumbach is doing a movie starring George Clooney, Adam Sandler,
What?
Laura Dern, Billy Crudup, Riley Keough, and Greta Gerwig.
Good.
I'm excited
Huh.
for that one. I
Yeah.
think
I like
I'd like to
like
see
Baumbach a lot.
George be a good actor again.
Yeah.
What? I mean, he's just been directing masterpieces left and right. Come on.
I mean, for most people, The Boys in the Boat was fine.
It was okay.
It's a pretty serviceable adaptation of a
No,
really
look.
excellent book.
Look, he just needs to step back and say, you know what? Maybe I need to let somebody else direct these movies. Just let somebody else do it. He's just not an interesting director. You know,
So you
he's
won't be
just-
sad when he dies.
No, I will be sad because I think Clooney is an actor I love.
I think he's a really good actor. Yeah.
I can tell you already, unless I have to see it, a movie I do not care to watch. That'll be the next Safdie movie.
So that is actually, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and say right now, Timmy Chalamet is winning Best Actor next year, and Marty Supreme. And I'm in the Chalamet camp thinking he might be like a generational talent. I think he's an incredible young actor. Marty Supreme teaming with the Safdies, and if is it the Killing Machine or the Bruising Machine or whatever the Rock is doing with the Safdie, one of the Safdie brothers. You know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
there's a sports drama from the other one.
From the other one, which also has Emily Blunt. I wouldn't be surprised if Dwayne gets a nomination next year. You know,
So Richard Linklater has 2 different films coming out this year.
so one of them is premiered and people went gaga over it. But anytime Linklater does something, I'm excited.
Yep, and then you mentioned Paul Thomas Anderson's One Battle After Another, starring Leo.
So is that the official title now?
Yes.
Okay. I know it had been so many different titles, but people say it's weird.
Oh, what about
And we do have a Wes Anderson film coming out.
Yes.
What about Soderbergh?
Black Bag?
Black Bag.
Do you really think coming out this point in the year, as much as I'd like to see it, and I think I eventually will. It will not likely be in theaters just due to my own time commitments. But
I it's hard to say, but he's such a popular director, and he seems to somehow get like kind of a stranglehold on people with certain films. But the timing of when stuff comes out, I think, is important, and you can't leave all of the movies to be released in December, right?
okay,
So
the
Black Bag
definite
is designed for people like my age who.
Oh no. I have the winner of the Dad Nonfiction Award movie for next year that will most definitely get some type of Oscar recognition.
Okay.
A movie called Pressure. Anthony Maris's adaptation of David Haig's stage play about the meteorologist who delivered the weather report responsible for planning D-Day. Andrew Scott will play said weatherman, while recent Oscar winner Brendan Fraser will play Dwight D. Eisenhower. By
Okay,
Focus
I'm
Features.
there. I'm there.
I'm there too. That sounds fucking awesome.
That's
I-
it. That's it.
I love Andrew
That's it.
Scott.
Oh, I can have old guys' night all planned out.
Oh,
I'll
The
join you on
Smashing
Old Guys
Machine is the
Night.
other Safdie movie.
The Smash Machine, that's it. I think that's got a shot. And I think the Safdies are, they got close with Sandler, I think. Which, God, I wish Sandler would have gotten that nomination. That would have been just very enjoyable to have him on the awards campaign.
I'm trying to see what else we got here yet.
What would even make it better is if Andrew Scott did the meteorologist like he does Hamlet.
Oh yeah, it's
Catherine Bigelow's finally making another film.
Is she? Good.
Apparently, she's got Idris Elba and Rebecca Ferguson in a Netflix thriller.
Talk about somebody we just never figured out how to use. Idris Elba. We just never figured it out, did we? A guy who's
Bond,
so talented. Tom, what do you think of him being a Bond?
Well, at this point, it wouldn't make any sense.
He's too old now. Yeah. That's
had he been before. Yeah, I think it would have been inspired casting. But personally, if I were to have my druthers of, if you want to kind of split the difference, a person who I think is a talented actor who would look the part and is in some ways a diversity quotient, I would go with Henry Golding.
My guy. I think Dev Patel would rock it.
After Monkey Man, I was very impressed by that. I think he could play it very easily.
Yeah. You know, one guy whose movie's coming out that I would be interested to see if it has the juice would be Aziz Ansari's directorial debut, Good Fortune.
Okay.
Because I think Master of None.
Yeah.
Is
especially season 2 is.
Yeah, it's just like it's incredibly well made, so thoughtful, and he's a guy. I think a guy who's pretty thoughtful and. I'm just interested to see what that movie is.
Don't worry, Sarah. That's number 23 on the list of future shows for you to potentially watch.
Master of None's very fun, though.
I mean, I'm like this close to finishing Sherlock. Like I said, I'm holding off because I don't want it to be over.
Oh, good. Then we can kind of swap out what another decent, like non-trivial show for you to watch.
But I'm really enjoying. I'm a little bit embarrassed to say how much I'm enjoying How I Met Your Mother.
It's fun. I
actively chose to not watch it when it came out, and I have avoided it until now. But Tom has done really well with recommending stuff for me to watch. We're very simpatico. He's my future husband. That's why.
Do you know who the mom is yet? Have you met her?
No, not yet.
Oh no.
Okay, so you're early.
I just watched. I guess that's the last night.
Yeah, she's in the middle of season 2 yet.
Okay.
3. It's 3.
Is it 3?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe
a movie that I think is probably going to be hot garbage this year, but Michael from Anton Fuqua, the Michael Jackson biopic. Which I'm sure it's going to be very normal, and there's been no takes of that movie.
Yeah.
Normal.
Roof Man, the new Derek Cianfrance, which I like Cianfrance a lot. I don't know if he's somebody you guys get on board with or not. He did.
No, you're getting way beyond my skis already.
Did you see The Place Beyond the Pines?
Nope.
Good film. Blue Valentine.
Nope.
Light
you're in Andrew category now, the pretentiousness.
No. The Place Beyond the Pines is a crime thriller with Ryan Gosling and Bradley Cooper.
Ryan Gosling, one of the worst actors to ever be on a screen.
Whew, those
there
are
I said it.
Fighting what he is.
I know. Every man loves him. He's the golden boy. I get it. But I don't get it. He's so boring. He's so boring.
I've been a Gosling fan since The Believer, which I saw in 2003.
What is his appeal? Explain it. Men love him. I can concede that women are into him. I don't find anything about him attractive. Why do men love him so much?
I don't necessarily love him. I like pretty much all the movies he's done, save for maybe 1 or 2. But then again, I haven't gone in depth in the way that Andrew has.
anyone could do any of the roles that he's done.
No.
Ooh,
I think to some extent it's the self-effacing aspect of his characters. He can be a
Okay.
little self-effacing at the same time be really cocky about how good he looks.
yeah, no,
Okay.
that's he is good at that, quite good. But I think he's incredible in Half Nelson, which is his first Oscar nomination, a movie I love. Tom, have you seen that?
Nope.
Sarah, have you? Tom, Dana, no.
No, because it's Ryan
Eh,
Gosling. That's the problem.
We're at the
I
point in
don't-
the evening where Peterson's just gonna name drop and like only he's seen half
Have
of
you
these
seen
movies.
it? Have you seen
All
it?
right. So now I have to like come across or admit this whole aspect, but yes, because my wife liked them, I started reading them. I've read several of Nicholas Sparks's novels, and
As
I
have
really
I.
liked The Notebook.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
I've seen The Notebook probably like 25 times.
Well, I love the
It's an
book.
easy
and
watch.
Why
I
is that
love
a
the
hard
movie
thing to
because
admit?
if nothing else,
Oh,
because James Garner and Gina Rowland, who I
oh,
thought were just
Yeah.
so
yeah.
wonderful.
That reminds me, Tom did tell me that he watched Tom, Dick, and Harry. Did you get to watch it, Dana?
He did not. I watched it on
No.
my own while I was in Madison.
Oh,
But it is
Oh,
still recorded on my
Tom, Dick, and Harry is
DirecTV.
what?
that was one of my Christmas recommendations.
Yeah, he only partially watched the stuff because I was watching them, and so if I'm not there, I mean,
No,
frankly,
you had them on. I watched them.
I
But-
Right,
I
we talked
understand,
about
but
we talked about the Red Skelton ones.
unless
Yes.
I forced my father into watching it by way of either it has to be some type of project for the show
Right,
or just part of the regular show,
right.
he just resorts to a lot of comfort watching. He
That's
said as
okay.
much.
Well, I
That's
don't,
okay.
and even then, I don't do that much. I'm at the basic point of where I'm watching movies for the show, and I watch a few other things, and that's about it. I don't watch a regular show very often, and I don't watch that many movies, like other than Friday or Saturday night. And a lot of times, like this weekend, I had to watch Tombstone for our guest episode on Saturday, and I watched Aaron Brockovich.
That's not coming this Saturday, is it? No,
Yeah.
it's no, because you're here. That's 2 weeks from now.
Okay, 2 weeks from now. Well, I watched it anyway.
Okay, well, at
I
least
got it out of the
you're
way.
prepared.
So,
So
I mean, the only night I have at home is Mondays, and obviously I'm not here at home tonight. So,
Okay.
there,
Well, we can't leave just empty space going here, guys. And
I'm curious what you guys think of this, because about 20 years ago when Freaky Friday came out, I think Jamie Lee Curtis was very close to an Oscar nomination, like very close. I wonder if Freakier Friday, which comes out this summer, if it's as good as the first one. I think the first one's quite good. If Lindsay Lohan could get a lot of recognition for that role, everyone's glad to see her back, glad she's healthy. What-
0% chance.
Zero.
0.
I'm just curious. I'm throwing it out there.
No.
Not for something like that.
Unless you're a previous co-host of Andrew on the Revisionist Almanac, no. Lindsay Lohan's not getting any recognition.
I don't know.
well,
Jamie Lee Curtis maybe too.
depends on what your source or what your purpose of recognition is. But anyway,
Well, all right. Since our last member in crime has not showed up to this point, I'm just going to continue to plow through here because we're running out of material, and I don't want to belabor the show too much. But all right. So one of the two remaining questions that I had specifically, since 1980, how many musical biopic performances portraying real musicians have been nominated for Oscars?
since 1980, does that include
Wait,
1980?
just nominated for like any Oscar.
So, Coal Miner's Daughter.
That is one. I
Yeah.
will give you a hint that there were 3 this year.
Walk the Line.
But No, wait.
It's
But
not
what kind
the
of
film.
Oscars?
Dana's gonna
You
count them
have
all.
to
What?
get the individual actor performances. That's
You're
why
talking
there
about
were
they-
3 this
Alright.
year from the same movie.
Oh, okay, wait. So we're talking about specifically.
I will
were
read the
nominated-
question again because people apparently don't seem to be paying attention.
Yeah. Okay.
Since 1980, how many musical biopic performances portraying real musicians have been nominated for Oscars?
Got it.
acting.
Okay.
So we're not just looking like you can't put in somebody that was in a biopic, but they have to be portraying a real musician. So like Jennifer Hudson in Dreamgirls,
It's
because
just a
it's technically
musical.
fictional, is not
Yes.
does not count.
So, like for example, Jamie Foxx being
As Ray
nominated as Ray
Right.
Charles.
correct. Or Austin Butler for
Joaquin as
Elvis.
being Johnny Cash.
Right.
Okay. So
And only
Um,
nominations, right? Not.
I'm going to
actual
say
wins.
23.
All right, we have 1 entry in.
Since 1980.
Since 1980, yes. You've already mentioned probably a good 8 of them or so. And there he is. All right, so
Hello.
we will
Kieran,
repeat the question as soon as I
hi.
introduce our guest. We have our final guest of the evening on with us, the newly engaged.
Oh,
man of the
geez, we're
hour.
going right at for it. There we go.
You're engaged.
Yep.
Yes. Can you believe that?
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you so
Yay.
much.
Yes, it
Yes.
happened yesterday.
Awesome.
I didn't have a chance to tell you, Dad.
Yesterday. Jeez.
Ah,
Yeah,
I
I know.
I found out
Congratu-
yesterday. It could have happened like
Congratulations
days
and
ago.
my sympathies.
Kieran, how
As-
absolutely
as the guy who's been married
wonderful.
37 years.
Yeah.
Yes.
Your condolences.
Well, it is. Yeah, it's on the airwaves now. Let me tell you. No.
As the only woman here, let me just say this is very exciting news. So all of them going, "Oh my god, my condolences!" No. Yay! As a woman, I'm very excited. I'm very excited.
Also,
for
the
you.
only one to be currently divorced.
twice.
You guys are. I got a lot. Hi. How are you guys doing? Good to see you. No. Thank you for everything. Yeah, we're so happy. It's super exciting, and yeah, everyone's real fired up. So it was a lovely weekend over all that, and yeah. So, but thanks for all that.
And that is Kieran B from the Best Picture Cast, host and creator, doing a lot of exciting things over there. But to get to where we were at, where you dropped in on us, I had been trying to hold this question for a while for you. Since 1980, how many musical biopic performances portraying real musicians have been nominated for Oscars? We have
Tom,
one guess of 23 right now, and I will
I'm
give
gonna
you a
I'm
hint.
gonna
One movie
It's
had
gotta be
3
lower
of them
than
this
that.
year.
I'm gonna bump it to 41.
Oh my god.
41.
I wouldn't
Okay.
guess that much.
There hasn't even been that many biopic movies.
No, because I'm thinking like Marion Cotillard, One for Love Beyond
Oh, God,
Rose.
I just got here. I need a pen. You know, jeez, hold on.
I mean, you got Angela Bassett and Larry both getting nominated for what's love got to do? No, what's
Yeah, you were right.
love got to do with that?
Love
Yeah,
got to do with it.
Now that you say that, 23 is starting to feel right.
3 this year.
Since
you got 2
1980,
on
you
one.
said, right?
Correct.
You got Rami Malek. That's one.
Yep.
God, I didn't even pour my scotch yet. We
Yeah,
got
already
Sissy
up for-
Spacek is that 70s?
That's
No,
that's
that's
80.
1980. So
It
that'd
is
be
okay,
right
so that's
on the
going to be in
nose,
there.
which of course is well timed for our episode
Yeah.
of Coal Miner's Daughter on Wednesday.
Austin
There we
Butler.
go.
Yes.
Somehow Tom Hanks didn't get a nomination in Elvis.
Austin Butler.
He also wouldn't have been a musician.
I'm going to say 18.
Because we're only talking about musicians,
Yes,
not
people
biopics
Oh.
across the board.
portraying real musicians, not just
Musicians.
nominated in the
Okay,
movie.
I'll keep it at
but
23.
but
I'll
also
keep it 23.
not just real
Alright.
people, right? So
Correct.
only musicians. I'm gonna say 15.
Wait, does B Coop and Stars Born count?
No, because it's
Not a real-
fictional
not a
musician.
real
Got it.
person.
Fictional. So 20. I'm saying 23.
Yeah, that.
We have
Okay,
3
I said
guesses
my
on the
number.
board.
I said my number.
Dad,
I'm feeling like
what
a
do you
tie
got?
now.
I'm willing to go through all of these.
I'm interested to know
I'm
what
going
they actually are.
16.
All right, none of you hit it exactly, but Peterson is the closest.
Oh, it's high.
It's 21.
21. All right. So let's
Okay.
can we see how many we can name? Let's see if we can get them all.
Well, you've named several. So first off, I gave you guys all Chalamet, Barbero, and Norton for this year for a complete unknown. I named Austin Butler for Elvis.
Okay, we said
Rami
Spacek,
Malek was said for Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah.
Joaquin Phoenix was said for Walk the Line.
but also his counterpart.
There you go.
Played June.
Reese
June
Yeah.
Carter
Witherspoon
Cash.
is also nominated.
John C. Reilly for Dewey Cox.
Not quite.
Ray Charles,
Jamie,
right?
yeah,
Yep,
Jamie
Jamie
Foxx
Foxx.
for
Ray
Ray was
Charles.
nominated. Lawrence Fishburne and Angela Bassett for
So that's
What's Love
10.
Got to Do with It?
Marion
was named.
Cotillard.
Marion Cotillard for La Vie en Rose was named.
So that's 11,
Spacek was named. So
12.
you've got a few to still go.
You said you counted Rami, I guess.
80s.
There were
Whitaker-
Oh, you have Kate Blanchett was nominated for playing Bob Dylan also.
Yep. Well,
I
but that's
don't
probably
think
you're not
so.
counting that, are you?
I don't think she was nominated for.
She-
Oh, she
I
wasn't
don't have that
nominated.
one.
I'm not
she-
there.
Oh, no, she definitely was. 100%.
What about
Because she was the favorite to win, and then Amy Ryan took it.
Rocket Man?
What?
Amy Ryan doesn't have a win.
He didn't get nominated.
That's
get
going to be
nominated.
for the Emmys then, Peterson, because that's not
Yeah.
the Oscars.
Was
What?
it
What's Emmys?
Kate
Am I
Blanchett.
drawing a
For no,
blank?
I'm not there.
Charlie Parker.
Which one?
Kate Blanchett was nominated
Yeah.
in 2008.
Okay, then I
For I'm
missed
not
that one.
there.
So it's 22.
Charlie.
Okay.
Well, no,
So
but
was-
she's
are you
not-
talking
she's-
about Bird?
But she's not
Yeah.
really playing Dylan.
That's probably why it didn't count.
Yeah, because she's not
Yeah.
real like that. That's 6 people playing. Just
Yes,
Okay,
that
so
probably
let's-
that's why it doesn't count. Yeah.
Let's leave
narrow
that
the
one out
years
of it,
down.
But you guys got quite a few that you're still missing.
Right.
What-
Dana,
some
are you
recent
talking
ones.
about Bird?
Yes.
Yes, a Bird was up for a Globe. I don't think it was up for an Oscar.
yeah,
Forrest
Whitaker didn't get a nomination for
Yeah.
it.
Probably should have, but
I
Did we
believe
say-
there's
oh,
only
no.
one other one from the 80s that you would count, but a lot of these are recent.
who played Huey Lewis? Oh no.
My dad yelled at Huey Lewis
All
in
right.
a phone booth one time.
That's amazing. Hold on, I need to fill up my glass here.
Okay, I'll let him do that before I start listing off a few of these.
All right. Well, give us the other 80s one, Tom, just for the sake of the listener.
Jessica Lange in Sweet Dreams.
I
Yeah,
would,
wouldn't-
not, would
yeah,
not have
no.
got Jessica Lange in Sweet
Oh,
Dreams.
yeah, I remember that now.
Gosh, now I'm thinking Shine with Jeffrey Rush.
Yes,
That
very
counts.
good.
Oh, God.
Okay.
It's a horrific
Oh, excuse
nomination.
me. I forgot
Oh,
the other
um,
80s movie that has technically 2 nominations for Best Actor.
All of a sudden, Peterson's 23 is correct.
What's his
Not
name?
quite.
Mr. Holland's Opus. Wasn't that a real character?
No,
No.
Yeah, he's a conductor. He's a wannabe musician.
no. I think that was just based on some guy's teacher that he enjoyed.
See, I counted a conductor, but it's for a different film, a Best Picture winner
Oh,
from the 80s.
Maestro,
From
No,
the
not
80s.
Bradley Cooper. Are you counting him in Maestro? Because if you're counting the conductor in the 80s, you got to count Maestro with Cooper.
I counted Tom Hulce and F. Murray Abraham.
From Amadeus.
That counts. They're well,
Okay.
yeah, but they're musicians.
Those
Yeah.
are real
Yeah.
people. Yeah.
So yeah, then you got to add B
Sorry.
Coop in there
I don't know if I do.
for Maestro.
Okay, but
He's
I
Leonard
think there's a
Bernstein.
definite difference between the production of, well, all
They're
right,
piano
fine.
players in Amadeus, you know.
All right, other ones that I had here that have not yet been named.
Years.
this
Give me
is
years.
I can't give you years.
Roundabout
Sorry, I'm
years.
not quite that good, but there are some tricky ones to this one. All right. So Renee Zellweger for Judy,
Judy, yep.
because
Oh,
Judy
yeah.
Garland was a musician.
She did win.
Andra Day for the U.S. versus Billie Holiday.
Yeah,
I
that's a weird,
forgot
weird
about that one.
nomination. Weird
Okay,
nomination.
here's a tricky one because it was technically a fictional story, but it involved a real person and was a nomination. Viola Davis for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, I also have Meryl Streep for Florence Foster Jenkins.
Oh, yes.
Technically, she
Okay.
did recordings. She was
You're
a
correct.
musician. Not very good, but
I think
she
you
was
missed on
positioned.
Maestro. I think you got to count Maestro.
All right, so even then, that's 22, but he was still the closest. And finally, the only other one that I don't think has been mentioned to this point is Andrew Garfield for Tick Tick Boom.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, but okay, but now hold on. Now we're talking. Garfield
He
is
performed
playing.
in his own play.
Yeah, but that is a musical. Like that is a musical. I feel like there's got to be. I don't know.
I gave you the B Coop.
Huh?
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, I look. I love Tick Tick Boom. I think Andrew Garfield's incredible in that movie.
All right.
So
Now, I will also give you, because I gave Kieran this question a little bit before when they were talking about Clark Gable, but how many actors have appeared in 3 Best Picture winners?
how many?
Correct.
A shitload.
Wait. Rephrase that.
How many actors have appeared in 3 Best Picture
Are you-
winners?
Are you saying garnering nominations or just have
No,
appeared in
winners.
them?
Just have appeared in
Winners.
Well, how many?
Oh,
and
Best
and
Picture
does-
winners. Okay.
Yes, and they appeared in it. They did not have to be nominated.
so they just have to have had one trophy, and then they appeared in 3.
So Clark Gable.
They
yes,
don't
for
have to have
sure.
any trophies. They just have to have appeared in the movie.
Oh, and they have to be an Oscar winner.
No, they don't have to
No.
be anything.
Okay.
They just have to
okay.
be an actor
Movie.
who appeared in a Best Picture winner. 3 of them.
I'm gonna say like.
Jimmy Stewart.
Ward Bond.
I'm gonna
Jimmy
say.
Stewart is not correct.
Oh.
I'm gonna
Ward
say
Bond is
9
not
people.
correct.
I'm gonna say
Oh.
9.
Oh wait. Winner, not nominated. Sorry.
Correct.
I'm gonna say
Ward
9
Bond
9
is
people.
Ward Bond is probably correct.
It's not. We
Well-
had the possibility. The reason this question comes up is had Conclave won last night, Ray Fiennes
Fine,
would
she would
have
have been.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
been first to appear in 4.
Gable, Nicholson, and Hoffman all have. So there's 3.
Yes, Clark Gable, Nicholson.
De
And
Niro?
Dustin Hoffman.
What was your last one?
Dustin Hoffman.
Dustin Hoffman.
yeah.
Yes, he
Yeah.
has.
Yeah. De Niro.
I don't think so. Pacino, De Niro.
No, Pacino's just
De
in the 2
Niro.
Godfathers.
Well, obviously Ray
Winner.
Fiennes. You just
Winner.
said that.
No, it would have been Ray Fiennes had.
Had
No, he would have
4.
had 4.
So he's got 3.
So he's
Yeah,
got
so
3.
he does have 3. But we're
What-
still looking for a total number, and we've only had one thrown out that I can't remember what the number
9.
was. 9. Okay.
I'm thinking. No, Hanks isn't.
No, Hanks is not on this list.
Duvall.
No, not Dale Day Lewis.
There's going to be some like
Duvall's
character
not on the
actors. There's going to be some character actors that are going to sneak in there.
Yep. There are definitely some character actors in here, of which both of you have discussed them multiple times.
Guy
How
Pearce might
can
only be in
we-
2.
Can we do like a years span?
Morgan.
I can give you maybe
That's
some
for,
decades on a few of these people I don't
Sure.
really particularly know. Obviously, you guys have several, but there's one that spans from roughly about 1998 to 2011 or 2010. There is one that spans from
Philip Seymour Hoffman?
No.
Is he one of?
No.
I don't know that he's in any.
There is one that
it's not.
spans from 1989 to 2004. Who's still
So
an active actor.
That's Morgan Freeman.
That's Morgan Freeman.
Yeah, because Unforgiven.
Driving
Million
Miss
Dollar
Daisy,
Baby.
Unforgiven, and $1 Million Baby. Yeah.
There are several that are from like the 1950s and 60s.
So we're looking more probably 15 people.
You're
Borgnine-
missing at
is
least
Borgnine
2
in-
people from the Godfather franchise.
Duval?
Oh,
No, not
Kazali.
John Cazale, because he was also in The Deer Hunter.
Oh yeah,
Mm.
he okay. Oh,
You're missing
Brando.
How-
Brando.
How many
No.
of them are women?
He's got
Brando's only in
2?
2.
Oh, you have from Rocky, the actress from Rocky who's in
Talia
Talia
yeah, Talia
Shire.
Shire. Yeah.
Yeah, good pull.
Who I did miss, but there is another Godfather alum in this rotation.
Yeah, and Annie Hall.
Diane Keaton.
Diane Keaton, yeah.
Diane Keaton.
I'm just gonna throw it out there. Probably is not, but Katharine Hepburn.
No.
Oh, great guess though. Streep.
No, she's.
Yes.
I don't think she's been.
Yeah,
in
Streep's in
She
this.
is?
Yeah, because she's in
Kramer versus Kramer,
out
the
out
Vietnam,
of Africa.
out of
in
Africa,
Deer Hunter and Deer Hunter.
in the Deer Hunter.
Oh yeah, yep. All young, all early for her.
Mm-hmm.
So you said 9, Peterson. We're pretty close. I mean, we're right there.
I think you're already well past it, but
Yeah, I think we're gonna be like 15 or
because
16 people
you
here.
guys have guessed so far, although I gave you Ray Fiennes, but you guessed Cazale, Fiennes, Freeman, Gable, Dustin Hoffman, Diane Keaton,
Streep.
Nicholson, Shire, and Streep. That's 9 right on the
And
dot.
it was what you said, 99 to 11.
1998 to 2010 is one.
Kate Winslet? No,
How about Leo?
no.
No.
He's only
Just in
got.
Titanic and Departed. That's it.
Yep.
Mhm.
So there's another one.
I guess
I know
Jack,
her
right?
range at least spans from 1960 to 1983. I don't know what the third film that she was a part of.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
Rhino?
Shirley MacLaine.
Yep.
She's in Around the
Yeah.
World in 80 Days.
Oh, so okay. So
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Oh,
forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's-
there's some lower people still on this list, so it's more than 9. But does anybody want to throw out a final number?
I'll go 21 Blackjack.
I'm gonna say 26. No. I said 17.
I'll say 15 again.
I'll go 20.
All right.
Tom doesn't know.
Nope. Just I'm pulling up another resource so that I have for when I have to answer questions.
Damn it, Scoot McNeary was in.
No. The final answer is 19.
19.
Okay. So
John
Dana Price has righted me.
Yep.
John Cazale, Harry Davenport.
Wouldn't have gotten him.
Well,
Googling.
Okay. Anyway, Donald Crisp.
Yeah, Donald Chris from How Green Is My Valley,
Yep.
and I think he's in
Emile Zola.
Emile Zola.
Harry Davenport was in The Life of Emile Zola, You Can't Take It With You, and Gone with the Wind. So 3 consecutive years.
Cool.
Ray Fiennes, Colin Firth,
Yeah, English Patient,
English
King's
Patient,
Speech,
King's Speech, and then
and Shakespeare in Love.
yeah.
Morgan Freeman, Clark Gable, John Gielgud.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Then Beth Grant.
Don't mind me. I'm just Googling
So
John
Rain
Gielgud.
Man, No Country for Old Men, and The Artist.
Wait, who was that last one?
Beth Grant. You'd know her if you saw a picture of her.
Rain Man. What were the other ones?
No Country for Old Men and The Artist.
Yeah.
All right. So Hugh Griffith.
Beth Grant is the mom in she's the
Country.
mom in Donnie Darko. I think she's
I
in
got
that.
the cancers.
Yeah, right. She's in Donnie Darko too. Yeah.
Hugh Griffith. Then you've got Jack Gwillem.
Oh, Hugh Griffith, of course. Yeah, Oliver, Ben-Hur, and Tom Jones. And what was that? What was the last one there, Tom?
Jack Gwillem.
What
Lawrence of Arabia, A Man for All Seasons, and Patton.
What about Oliver Reed? He's just in the 2. Oliver and Gladiator, right?
So then the next one.
I
is
got another one. You got our
Hawkins.
guy from Jack Hawkins from Lawrence of Arabia. Yeah,
Yep,
and Bridge.
One of the more difficult ones to get is going to be Bernard Hill.
Oh.
Well, he's Titanic.
Yep. He's the ship captain. He's the King of Rohan in The Lord of the Rings.
Is he in Braveheart too?
He's in Gandhi.
God.
Oh, good lord. Yeah, I'm sorry, I passed out.
Okay. And then you got the rest of them. Dustin Hoffman, Diane Keaton, Shirley MacLaine, Jack Nicholson, Talia Shire, and Meryl Streep.
You would have thought someone in Argo would have been on that list somewhere. There's so many people in that movie.
Like Goodman. Goodman seems like it'd sneak into a bunch.
Nah. Good question. Good question.
So unfortunately, that ends the questions because it took me a long time to research all of those.
Yeah.
And I think I had to single-handedly pick through all of the musical biopic performances and apparently missed several. So
So that wasn't actual information that was readily available on a list already. You actually
No, I
compiled
had
that
to-
list.
yeah,
Oh, good job.
well,
I'm impressed.
I guess. So, but all right, Kieran, we have not yet been able to hear from you, but generic thoughts, anything specific that you'd like to circle back around on?
Before you do that, guys, I'm going to need to sign off.
PWH.
See you guys soon.
Adios.
Kieran, congrats.
Thank you, man. Appreciate
Sarah's
it.
good to
Why
meet
don't
you.
Hat
It's
on.
good to meet you,
you,
Peterson.
Go
Rob,
Braves. Go
when
Braves.
is the next time? Oh, you're back for Peter Panchali, right? I believe
September?
that's in August.
August.
Yes.
Lord.
Yeah. It'll be the first week of September that comes out, but we record it before then. So
Nice. Okay.
long delay for you, but thank you for being on with us. Anything you want to plug quick?
Yep. Just War Starts Midnight. Check out our back catalog. And yeah.
Yeah. Go
I mean-
Braves. Go Braves.
Go Braves. I know. We're, 2 weeks away, basically 3 weeks away.
Getting
from that.
started. We have
Yeah.
a new catcher and everything.
I know. Hopefully win another World Series. So,
That's it.
all right.
Take
The
it.
See y'all.
Brewers signed Jose Quintana.
Quintana,
today.
good pickup. He'll be a good brewer.
What are they going to do with all these mediocre old guys?
Win the NL Central, I guess.
I guess.
Lose to the Mets in the first round of the
Yeah,
playoffs.
fuck you.
He's not even a Mets fan.
No,
Yeah,
I'm not.
well,
I was
don't
rooting
bring it
Brewers
up.
in that series.
That'll be the
But
last
yes.
thing I hear Bob Euchre broadcast was this one really hurts.
Mm. Ouch.
Mhm.
Oscars, yeah. Listen, I think that a lot of us can agree it was a weak year. The pool they were running from was a little thin. I think they did a fair enough job with what they were working with. I feel like the Gen Pop was more into it than normal for a weak year. That's kind of a weird thing to say, like normally, this feels the Oscars feel very niche-y to me, but this was, I knew a lot of people who were like, I don't know whether it was Wicked and Dune or maybe the Bob Dylan stuff, or it seemed like people were paying attention this year, which stinks a little bit when the movies are a little kind of so-so. But I thought the show was good. I thought Conan did a great job. I thought the speeches were fine. I actually enjoyed the speeches, to be honest with you.
Except for
as-
Adrian Brody's.
Well, it was problematic, I suppose. I thought in there were some great things. I loved the beginning of it, talking about the journey of. He should have probably left it at that. Thanked a few people and left it at that. You can't call off the orchestra and have nothing to say.
Yeah.
You just look like the old man on the porch when you do that. Hey, I got my first rodeo. Anyway, where was I? Oh, me and Bob Sacamano down at the bar. It's like it's funny.
Or the scene from Anchorman where he's his regional Emmys acceptance award. Stop playing the music. I'm still talking.
That's good. Kieran Culkin's speech was great. But Baker had the speech of the night with the movie theater stuff. Of course, I'm going to plug that. And
yeah,
I mean,
100%.
it was, I'm not a fan of reading speeches off pieces of paper unless it's something like that, where you have a direct message to give. And it's not a negative or in your face message. It's a very kind of constructive, like, hey, there's an entity out there that needs a little love, and it feeds all of us in this industry or the fragments outside the industry that we are, whatever it is. And I really liked it a lot. I really like him. He seems like a really good guy. It's kind of odd for a somewhat regular filmmaker to break a record like that, but maybe he'll do some great things with this and come out with some 3 or 4 more bangers and be considered one of the all-time greats. So, I don't have to come on here and get heckled after a Timothy Chalamet win. So there's that.
This year, Peterson's already predicting it for next year.
Okay, sure. I mean, I'm sure they'll have him play John Quincy Adams and he'll win or something. Ham-fisted biopic.
So actually, going off of the Sean Baker speech in Saving Cinema, that actually, because I had earlier said that I wanted to say something about a skit and I couldn't remember what it was. It was actually like the ad for going to a physical building to watch movies. Are you sick and tired of doing it on your phone?
Yeah,
There's a
Cinema Stream.
building where you
Yeah.
can go to and they'll turn it on for you. I
We
actually thought
glued a
that
bunch of
was
phones together.
yeah, I actually thought that was really, really, really clever.
I
How
know.
And
do you hold it?
yeah,
The building holds it.
the building holds it
Oh,
for you. How do we
I
turn
know.
it on? Building turns it on for you.
I so wanted to go and watch The Brutalist at a theater, and the only place anywhere close to me was in Wausau, and it was scheduled to start at 9:20 on a Saturday night. I'm like, I'd
Yeah,
fall
forget it.
asleep by 10:30. I
Yeah,
mean,
no.
and then it's an hour away, and I'm like, oh my god, they're not making it easy.
No,
I
they're not.
find it funny that you seem to think that there were more people around you comparative to other years. Like I would have thought last year with the two primary films as the breakouts in Barbenheimer, that would have been like the peak of people paying attention in this day and age. Big movies finally getting attention at the Oscars front and center comparative to this year. And I know that you always are interested in what our office poll is. Uh, the one we did just to see if anybody had heard or could name a Best Picture nominee in our office, no one could. And then you
Not
start
out of
saying like
20
Dune and Wicked, and
Well,
they're
you have
like,
to.
"Oh yeah,
your
I've heard of that," but
y-
nobody
your
had seen
your
anything.
mother could, but only because I
Yeah,
forced
well,
her
we
to go
drag
with
her
me
to
on
shit.
some of them.
Yeah,
On the flip side of that, I did find this year there were a lot of people who don't normally watch these types of movies making an effort to see the Honoras and the Nickel Boys and the Brutalists and whatnot of the world, more so than normal. Like, even years like with the Coda year or the Everything Everywhere at Once, it's this year. It seemed like there are people like, oh, I haven't seen any of these movies. Let me watch this. Let me watch it. And I don't think a lot of them saw all of them. So that's kind of a fun thing when you have like a Wicked and a Dune representing to pull people into the smaller, more independent movies. I don't think the Brutalist isn't small, but it's not small in scale, but it's small in budget, of course. So that's pretty fun. And it's also really fun to see Conan in that spot because I mean I grew up with Conan O'Brien and I've always loved his sense of humor and his form of comedy, and he had that brief stint on the I'm gonna get this wrong, Tonight Show, Late Show, I get them confused, but he replaced Letterman. Yeah,
And then when
and then Leno came
they
in.
decided to move Jay Leno into the 9 o'clock spot Central, which would be 10 o'clock Eastern.
The late night talk show wars. Yeah.
Yeah, they moved Conan into the Tonight Show, and then that failed miserably, and so they
his humor's
paid
not
him off $14 million to go away.
His humor's not mainstream. It's very kind of wink wink, like, hey, look at me, but I'm making fun of myself kind of stuff. Like to sum up his humor, and I thought was quietly one of the funniest jokes of the night was and now the Dune Worm playing the classical harp. And then he goes off the side. He's like, see, this is how this works. When you spend that much money on a prop, we got to make two jokes.
Twice.
So that sums up Conan O'Brien's
It
humor.
reminded me so much of In the Year 2000.
Oh, this is the best.
Which
So
is
good.
one of my
So
favorite bits that he
Yeah.
used to do.
No.
Yeah, loved it. Absolutely loved it.
What was Sara? What would have been your pick for best picture?
Okay, so here's kind of how I ran it down in my mind. My favorite movie of the year was The Substance. I knew there was no way that it was going to win, but that's the movie that like sat with me and I was fully obsessed with.
only because Challengers was not nominated.
Only because Challengers was not nominated. For
We are simpatico on that one.
like it should have been nominated for a lot, but like at least just automatically give it the win for best soundtrack. Like, come on now. But then it to me was, what did I think actually deserved to win that could be palpable for the general audience? And I think for me, Dune, too much of a blockbuster. So I focused on Wicked and Conclave. I thought Conclave could be like the cerebral sort of pick with super dramatic, and then Wicked would be the absolute escapist, heal everybody's hearts sort of family friendly movie, which a movie like that hasn't won in so long. And so that was kind of like, I was like, those could potentially win and I would be really, really excited. Everything else to me was a little bit too serious and dreary, and Honora, it's not a bad film. It was so far down on my list of things that I was enjoying that at least it wasn't Amelia Perez. That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Of the 10 films nominated, Amelia Perez was. I would have loved to have seen a real pain.
Challengers.
Sing Sing.
Challengers. Sing would have been great.
September
Any one
5.
of those three would have
Yeah.
been above that one.
Absolutely.
It just, when the scene with, and it wins the best song when Selena Gomez is like on the bed, breaks out into song, and I'm like, oh God, what the hell is this? Oh, made no sense.
We're going to probably wrap up in about 9-ish minutes. So I did want to get you guys some opportunity to plug some stuff that you guys already have. But Sarah, first, you've been on the longest with us. You've been here almost the entire time.
Almost the
what do you
entire
got
time.
coming up?
Okay, so literally this Friday is the episode of Revisionist Almanac that I'm on with Klarissa and Andrew. We're covering 1934. It's super fun because they didn't have Best Supporting acting categories back then. So we create nominees and awards for Best Supporting Actor and Actress. So super fun. There were 12 nominees for Best Picture that year, or Outstanding Production that year, and Andrew and I went the distance and nominated 12 movies a piece. Just super fun, super excited that that's finally coming out. And then in 2 weeks I'm on with you guys for 2 weeks, I think, Patton.
Yeah, we'll have to talk to you about that because I think we're going to be actually less than 2 states away from you at that point. I think we're supposed to be in New Mexico at that time.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let's talk about
so
what's going
currently it looks like we're recording that on the 26th. And so that'll be set for release in early April. So maybe not, because I think it might be the weekend between that, but I'll have to look.
Yeah, so I'm coming right back. That'll be right after my spring break. I'm potentially a couple days before that gonna be doing, but it'll come out after, Movies and Us, doing Black Bag, and then next week, hopefully, or the week after, I will have our Shea Cinema getting episodes back out again, and our next episode is Cavalcade.
Oh yeah.
Yay. But we also have other episodes coming up, like King Kong and stuff like that. So then we'll be getting hopefully back into recording soon. So in the very short term, lots and lots and lots of stuff coming out. And then I can't remember if there's something else I'm doing with you guys later this year or not. I can't remember.
I think Patton might be the end of it, but I do have
For
the
this year?
schedule here, so I'll take
I
a
can't remember.
quick gander. I think you signed up for something for next year.
Oh, maybe it was for next year. I can't remember.
Yes, you signed up for Streetcar Named Desire for next September.
Stella.
I love
But I did that as like a special favor because I haven't really let a lot of people sign up for
no, I know
season
that
7.
was I know that's totally.
I
that's
shall
totally
say
fine.
the last fan polls that we did to basically narrow down the list, Monsters Inc. beat, I believe, Dumbo, and The Prestige won its fight with, I can't remember, it was a very close fight. So that has been locked in. Other ones that did win, That Thing You Do, Zoolander won its fight. I think, let's see here. So we have a bunch of really good ones from next year. And I haven't let a lot of people sign up for stuff. It's very specific targeted stuff, such as, like, I've been promising VP Morris Gilda for like 3 years.
Right.
So I had to give her that one, but
I'm still a little bitter. Dirty Harry got snubbed for season 7, but
Yeah, well, it's the byproduct of it being in like such a packed area.
Month, yeah.
Well,
Like early on, trying to
I
do
know.
it based on anniversaries, the first couple of months are so difficult. Had it been in January or February as a release date, it would have for sure been on. But I'm having to put like a lot of very silent or older films that had weird kind of release sets. So like we have a couple of different Chaplin films, I think, right now.
Because they
Um,
had weird their distribution stuff that happened
Right.
in the olden days, totally completely bizarre. It doesn't seem to have anything to do with it being like the weekend or the time of year or 1934. Actually, the Seventh Awards is the first time that they actually kept to a calendar year, and it's weird because it happened one night, was released in February, but there's 10 other months where they had all of these other nominees, and it's the one picture that came out at the beginning of the year that kept anyway.
So our first like 6 or 7 for season 7, and I have not publicly discussed this yet. Sabotage, a Hitchcock film to start it with. Little Miss Sunshine, because it came out at Sundance.
Right.
City Lights. Invasion of the Body Snatchers from 1956. Dracula. The General will be our 300th episode, Buster Keaton.
Mm.
And then if I don't bump it so that I give myself time for the Oscars preview for next year, if we do like another live stream like we did this year, Modern Times would be in that slot.
Okay. So you did get a Don Siegel in there with Body Snatchers. So at least there's that.
So, but I don't want to give you short shrift. Kieran, what do you got going on over at the BPC?
Yeah, BPC, man. We just dropped a 4-hour episode on Forrest Gump today. So, oh yeah, oh yeah.
How long was Rocky?
How much of it was involving talking about shrimp?
Oh, a good. The whole second hour is just listing different forms of shrimp.
I seriously want to hear Artie describe the 33 ways to do shrimp. But okay.
I think Rocky, I think, might have surpassed the 4-hour mark, but no, we're at like 3.5 to 340 with Forrest Gump. But so that's out. Great conversation. I had a blast with that one. It was one of my favorites we've recorded in a while. We did a ton of Oscar coverage, and not all of it's dated. You know, it's a lot of just like our breakdown of the pictures, how we rank them, the acting nominations and whatnot. So that was fun stuff there. We have coming up an episode on It Happened One Night. We have an episode on that's recorded and that's in the books. We have an episode on Coda that we haven't recorded yet that will be coming up soon too. And we'll also be kind of revisiting some of our rankings soon also. So excited about that. I'll be on with you guys. We'll be recording next week, so I guess it'll air in 2 weeks for.
Yes.
And I got my nifty book here, and I'm thinking this is a new project I might dabble into. So this book I saw at this vintage bookstore. It's called The Non-Westerns of John Ford.
The only ones he won Oscars for.
That might be a fun little project. And one of these on here, there's a Shea Cinema episode on. And that's Aerosmith. Yes, the first one listed here. Yeah. So,
Yep.
And there it is, right there, The Grapes of Wrath. And you can check out in our back catalog, our How Green Is My Valley episode. Donald Crisp shout out there, referenced earlier. So I'll be on there with you guys. I'm super excited to talk about that. That's a special movie for me, or at least the book is, and we can talk more from there with the episode. But Best Picture Cast, check us out. We got lots of stuff going on. We release every other week, but honestly, these days we are kind of putting something out every week in some facet. And we have a new YouTube page too, so you can see our shining faces on YouTube / Best Picture Cast.
Well, thank you very much. And a couple of shameless plugs very quickly because my co-host is wilting.
Yes,
quite literally. I want to thank Klarissa for being on with us. Sara, always a pleasure to have you with us. Andrew Corns of the Revisionist Almanac, Peterson W. Hill, and of course, the famous Kieran B. for being on with us tonight. I also do want to plug, we will be having a live stream series of the James Bond rankings. I think we may section those off into 5s so that we can kind of do a shorter chunks, but deep dive on particular films potentially. I don't know how I'm going to structure that yet, but that's probably going to be a summer series when I have some time off from school and to finish watching the last half of the Bond films between my dad and I. We might be able to get some watched while we're bumming around hotel rooms in the next couple of weeks or something to that effect.
Yeah.
But otherwise, other stuff coming up for the show. We have our episode on The Coal Miner's Daughter releasing on Wednesday. We have an episode on Aaron Brockovich. Kieran mentioned The Grapes of Wrath. Sarah's mentioned Patton. But in between both of those, we have Toy Story coming up. And then we just have banger after banger after banger. Ex Machina, American Psycho, Caddyshack, Gladiator, Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi, finishing up May with a revisit of Back to the Future with our original guests from Germany. So
Awesome.
we've got some really good stuff planned for you this year. We thank you all for being with us for all of our Oscars coverage and kind of putting up with us in this weird live stream universe. And I know we've hit you with so much freaking content between the Superbad episode, which we had a ton of fun doing, and we're glad that you guys really enjoyed that. But it's always been great being with all of you guys. And I know as much as I complain about being in law school and trying to do all this and manage it, this is one of the few kind of like vacation spots in my week, is always being able to do the show, even as much as I moan and groan about all the stress of the editing and everything else that goes into it. It's a great pleasure to be with you all. And it's always a great pleasure to win the Oscars bet over my dad. So with that, we will say goodnight for the Oscars for 2025. And we'll see you all next year. Thank you so much. That'll do it for us this week. Thank you for listening.
Bye.
Well, thanks, guys.
Yeah, I'm glad I made it.
Thank
You
you.
got there right in the nick of time.
I literally was waiting around for you to show up. I was like, I just want to see your face.
Here I am. Here I am.
Yay.
So, Dad, if you need to get home, I know the dogs probably need to be taken out.
Mom's home.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I
I
need to
thought
go
she was
home
still
and
in
see
like
her
transit, but
before
okay.
she falls asleep. Because if I
Yeah.
don't, she's gonna say, "Oh, well, apparently it doesn't matter."
Well,
that
then
I'm
you
home."
can stay for an extra like minute and a half
So
to
tell me what you're doing with traveling and stuff. Also, excuse me, I have to put steroids in my eyes since